This is 99% craps.
Hard 10, hard 10. Here's the number.
I'll take the full odds on the 10, 200 on the hard way. The limit on all the numbers, 250 on the 11. Thank you very much.
Say, you played this game before.
Just once.
Welcome to the Red Eye Gamblers podcast. High above the second largest city, west of the Mississippi. Two chronic craps players, talking craps, playing craps, thinking craps. This is 99% craps.
Coming up on 99% Craps, we're back together on our first trip of 2021. Weekday gambling in Lake Charles and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We discuss COVID-19 restrictions and changes, in-depth focus on the new shoot-to-win hybrid craps table, strategies played, and post-trip reports. But first, our 2021 goals. Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, episode 28. The Red Eye Gamblers present 99% Craps. All right, well, let's try this out. Welcome back, everybody. We are actually on our way. We are back on our way. No more solo trips.
I'm back in the car.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
It has been almost a year, within like a week or two, I think.
We had to go check and look at our podcast history, and episode 21 was the last one Shotgun was on, back in February of 2020, before COVID.
Right before, and then COVID hit and everything shut down, and we all started living out of our houses and not doing much.
Right. So anyway, but now we are on our way. We're going on a weekday, avoiding the crowds like we normally do, and going to scout out Lake Charles, the Golden Nugget, and LAUBERGE casinos.
And I'm actually kind of interested to see what is left of Isle of Capri.
Yeah, we're going to run by the Isle of Capri this trip too, take some pictures, because they're dead. The hurricane came through and then tore the boat from the dock, and the boat ran into the bridge that I-10 has over the lake right there, and then brought it back. But it's never been, it hasn't reopened, and there's no signs of it reopening.
Well, and they did get new owners recently, so you would think that they would have plans on reopening, but
plans on reopening, but still the economy's not good.
Right.
And
might as well take their time.
Yeah. Well, they've got a bunch of other places that aren't doing very well either.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I could see them trying to sell that off.
Sure.
Lake Charles can support. The casino was mildly busy when it was open.
I think if you open a casino, unless it's the Taj Mahal, I think you can do pretty well.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're going to check it out. We'll take some pictures, try to get some more information for everybody. But yeah, we're staying at the Golden Nugget and staying for 2 nights. Going to check that out, and then tomorrow we're actually going to run to Baton Rouge.
Well, you can run. I'm going to drive.
Fair. But we're going to go out to Baton Rouge and check out LAUBERGE over there. Rumor has it they also have a shoot-to-win table. And then the 2 other casinos that are in Baton Rouge are also boats. The Hollywood and then the Belle of Baton Rouge. So we'll see what they look like and whether or not we want to go play. I think the Belle had a real shitty small tub that they were using, but then the Hollywood had a really good small tub that they were using. So anyway, so the scouting trip to Baton Rouge included, as well as Lake Charles. So, but I guess first off, how are you feeling about hitting the casinos? You just survived cancer, and you're kind of a risk person.
Yeah, and I have yet to get my vaccination, so we're. I think if you're just smart about it, we're going to definitely wear masks and hand wash and do all the things and stay away from. And I think
don't touch your face.
Obviously, we're not going to be on the. Well, I'm not going to be on the casino floor at 8 or 9 p.m. at night. I'm going to go when it's in the morning or late at night when it's not as many people out and about.
No, that's
because I do want to keep my distance from people, but I do want a shot at playing, and the shoot to wins, as you've said, have the plexiglass, and so with only one dealer at the table, and then plexiglass in between me and the other people, and I'm sure there's probably even going to be a seat in between us. I'm pretty comfortable with that. I like the fact that I'm not going to have to handle any chips to make my bets.
Yep.
You know, I can do all that electronically on the shoot to win. So, you know, once you write down your shoot to win monitor, I think you're good to go. You know,
for the most part, I mean, that's how I felt. You know, the several times that I played. I think you're really gonna like it because you know, you're a stick left one guy, and because there's no stick person where that used to be. Now you've got a shorter distance to throw to the end. So I think you're gonna like it. But again, it's gonna take you a little bit of time just to feel comfortable and get over that initial shock of, you know, people without a mask walking by. You know, you're gonna see things you don't want to see, and how is that going to affect you?
Well, yeah. Well, like, I mean, that happens when you grocery shop sometimes. You'll see that occasional person.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, I'd like to think that, you know, the ventilation systems at the casinos are really good. There's, you know, very high ceilings. And if I'm not comfortable where I'm at, I will cash out and walk off.
Yep. And that's the ease of, that's the really cool thing about the shoot to win table is you can cash out whenever you want. You don't have to wait on a dealer. You don't have to wait on a roll. You can just up and go. Yeah. So, well, good. Well, I'm glad you're excited because I'm really excited. I think I went middle of December, right before Christmas was the last time I went, and actually had a really good time. Didn't make a podcast on that last trip. I ended up going on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and instead of coming back on Sunday, I stayed for another 2 days. I got 2 more nights to stay, so I was there actually 5 nights.
It's quite the vacation.
It was good. Well, I had also had some personal issues where I have more free time now because I was a victim now of COVID employment woes. I got laid off the end of the year, so that opened up time for me to go to the casino pretty much any friggin' time I want and for as long as I want, as long as my bankroll sustains.
Right.
But yeah, so anyway, now we're back out, and actually that's probably number one on my list to talk about is welcome to 2021. What are your 2021 goals for gambling this year?
Oh, that would have been a good question to have told me beforehand. I don't know that I have made any goals. I mean, honestly, right now, I'm going to gauge how this trip goes and my comfort level as to whether I'm going to be comfortable going back. I mean, you know, right now, positivity rates are high, the daily numbers are high, you know, everything is high. So, but hopefully we're on the downswing with everything that's going on, vaccinations, new administration, things like that. So, you know, hopefully as the months progress, I'll feel more and more comfortable. I might spend a good majority of the time over the next 2 days in the hotel room.
Right. You don't know yet.
I don't know. You know, I don't know how I'm going to react when I'm actually there. So as far as goals, I honestly hadn't really thought about it. I'm really just taking this trip firsthand and then see where I'm at.
Well, I can add. Let me talk about my goals, and then that gives you time to think about yours, and then you can add. But yeah, I mean, initially I'm still, you know, to the point where I'm not 100% comfortable at a real craps table because they don't have the dividers. You've got people right next to you, and right now I'd rather not play next to somebody. I mean, I can, but I'd just rather not. So if I'm going to play, I'm going to play it shoot to win, and then also when there's less people there, and so that's morning and afternoon and not in the evenings. And even though I've been able to go on the weekends, for the last month or through December, which was great, it still got crowded, and you know, checking in and checking out was crowded, and the restaurants were crowded, and you know, it's like because they didn't have everything open, so you didn't have as much room as you had before. But at the casino, inside the casino, you could move around, and then in the evening, you know, it started getting busier, and then I left. So I think, you know, the goal is to play morning sessions and afternoon sessions and not worry about the evening until things get really back to normal, at least until I get a vaccine, to be honest.
Well, I will say if it's early morning or late at night and we happen to be up and out and the real table doesn't have anybody at it, I wouldn't mind throwing a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm planning on, we're staying at the Golden Nugget, and the Golden Nugget doesn't have shoot to win. So if we don't play at the Golden Nugget, I'm not going to get my free rooms anymore. So I've got to do something. And the last couple times I've been to Lake Charles, I have been able to get in at like 8 o'clock, in the morning, and get on a table that had only 1 or 2 people. So I think, if we time it right during the week, we can actually play by ourselves, for a good half hour and get our fill. But my goals for 2021 is, and it's right now that I'm unemployed, looking for a job, I've got the free time. And then once I do have a job, I still plan on going back. And I'm thinking, I'd like to go twice a month. Twice a month is a good goal for me to play. And then just slowly build up my bankroll. Work 6 months on building up my bankroll. I've got my handful of plays that I want to do. I want to be more of a regression player, and really just take things slow. Because I plan on going twice a month, because I plan on going 24 times a year, I don't have to just play like I'm playing, like I'm going once a quarter and bring 3,000 and play 3,000. Now I can, play for a $300 session or a $500 session and have that goal of, a 20% win or even less than a 20% win and go from there. A win is better than a loss, and I think that's what I want to do, is just plan on winning more than losing.
Well, that's the idea for everybody, I believe. Well, I just think in the long term, we've realized that the longer you stay at a craps table, the house is going to catch up to you.
Yes.
If you can get to a table and have a couple of lucky runs and you're up whatever amount, it might be just time to call it. Ride that table. Maybe it goes 4 or 5 shooters at a time, and then one roller 7's out. Well, maybe it's time to call it. You know? Enjoy the profit that you have. Go have that steak dinner, or go eat some good fajitas or something, or some lobster, and enjoy that profit. But I think I remember when we first started playing. There were trips that we went to the casino, whether it be Vegas or Lake Charles, and I can remember literally playing 8 or 10 hours during that day. And playing every shooter,
Right.
Not just sitting there watching the table. Playing the whole time. And we learned how to make our money last, but when you stayed that long, it's you usually don't end up at on the upside.
Yeah. Well, I keep remembering, when we were doing that, we always talked about fatigue. We talked about how tired we were, and that was one thing we were trying to prevent was getting tired. And it's amazing how more tired you are standing at that craps table than sitting at the craps table.
Oh, sure.
And but at the same time, just because you're not fatigued doesn't mean you don't have to stop. I still think, as we go on with strategy and how we play, and now it's getting to the point where I think if you're up, maybe we stop when you're up. And again, I think this all falls back to, why are you playing craps? Are you playing to have fun, or are you playing to win? And I think that's the problem that everybody struggles with. Everybody loves to have fun at the craps table, and having fun at the craps table doesn't always mean winning.
That is very, very true.
So it's just that delicate line of
well, yeah, and are you at the craps table and you have a $500 bankroll and you're losing $50 an hour? So is that just your entertainment fee that you're willing to pay? That's not why I gamble. I gamble to make money, not to.
And then you use the excuse of, okay, I'm getting comps, I'm getting a free meal, or I'm getting a free room, and I'm getting free drinks. But you're tipping the waitresses, you're tipping the dealers. So there's money going out. It's just one of those things of, after, of us really, I think, seriously playing for the last 6 years, where we're playing, more than 24 times a year. We just figured out that, a small win is better than a loss. And that, trying to search for that big win, that $5,000 win, just, is more rare than a lottery ticket.
Well, it's very much like you always want to have chips out so that if that big roller comes that you're involved.
Yes.
But honestly, how often does that happen? If you were to make money within the first 5 rolls of 3 out of 5 players and you showed profit, wouldn't that be better than trying to wait for that one roller who might go 20 or 25 rolls, but you don't know when it's coming?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is if you can make money before the first point, because we're not playing pass line anymore, we're not playing odds, so it doesn't really matter about the first point for us.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of can you make money within the first 10 rolls of somebody, before they 7 out, and that goes back to our strategy of kind of getting up, getting out. Well, so then I guess a goal for you for 2021 is you'd like to play more if you can, if you feel comfortable.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, 2019 and 2020, I definitely did not spend very much time at the casinos like we had previous years.
But 2020, you went twice to the casinos. You went once to Vegas in January, and then you went once to Lake Charles in February.
Yeah.
And then that was that.
That was
And then before that, you had cancer diagnosis.
Well,
in
2019,
May.
yeah. So whatever.
So
before
May you did, but then after May you didn't. So yeah, you're jonesing pretty bad, aren't you?
No, I got it out of my blood.
Well, we've been practicing a lot lately.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
So I guess that's the one thing is since December, we've been practicing regularly, if not every day, every other day. And that's the great thing about practice is you're not losing any real money, so you can hang out there longer than you want to.
Sure.
But now that we're at a casino, is okay. Now you've got to stick to your rules, stick to your guns, do what you say, practice what you preach.
Well, do you want to talk about some of the plays that you're going to make? What your approach is going to be this time?
Yeah, I guess we can talk a little strategy. We can talk about individual strategies.
Well, overall, your approach this time is a very strict, disciplined approach, which we have preached many, many years and have never been able to do. This time you're talking about having a specific play,
yes,
and that being the only play that you play during that particular session at the table.
No. So I've worked out, I think, 5 different plays that I'm gonna figure out which one I want to play at. Now, I guess the one big thing to mention is it all depends on what the minimum is at the table. Now, the shoot to win table is a $10 minimum. So that's one set of plays for a $10 minimum table. Now, when we go play at the Golden Nugget, odds are that's going to be a $25 table.
They might have a 15, but yeah, you're
the
probably
$15
right.
table will be full.
Yeah,
I know that for a fact. So we won't be on the $15 table. If you have to think like this, if you want to be spaced around people, then you're going to be playing at those higher limit tables to have less people at it.
Sure.
So I'm counting on, $25 table at Golden Nugget. Yes, there might be a $15 table available. We'll see, but I don't think we can get on it. Now, LAUBERGE's real table, those are, I think, $15. So then that would be different too. So I do have a $15 play. Then I've got $25 plays, and then my $10 plays. And so basically, it's inside betting. 6 and 8, 5 and 9. after the come out. So that's kind of the way I'm going to look at it. Now, when I first start out, though, I think I'm going to probably play the don't.
Give yourself to the dark side.
And I'm just going to play a flat don't bet. And just wait and see, if I get knocked off, how I get knocked off. Am I getting knocked off on the come out? So then 7 and 11s are coming. So then that'll tell me something about the table. The other thing is, again, the shoot to win table, you can see how many rolls have happened before you. So they've got the
data that they give you is cool.
Yeah, you've got 16 rolls that'll be shown in front of you, so you'll know the last 16 rolls. So you can find out if they've PSO'd 0.7'd out, a lot, or how many rolls have the length of the rolls. So that's good to kind of see, but it's the same. We've said it before. It's get settled in, calm down. Don't rush to throw the dice. Don't rush to get into the play. Now the other thing is, I'm probably only gonna shoot the dice from straight out. I'm not gonna shoot from stick left, from the other sides. There's only one spot I'm gonna shoot from, and then it all depends on the real table what's available for me to shoot at. On the real table, I'll shoot from straight out or from stick left one. But we'll just have to see what happens. But for the most part, yeah, it's going to be inside betting, and then either regret. I probably won't do regression betting because I'm playing with a low bankroll.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to start out big enough.
Yeah, no. As much as I want to regress, from 42, 6 and 8, down to 15, or $30, 6 and 8 down to 10, $12, 6 and 8. I don't know that I'm going to do that right off the bat. I might do that on the second day, or possibly even on Wednesday, the third day. I think that might be the real place where I might up my bets just a little bit if I've had good luck, or if the trend shows that way. I'm talking more about trends and money management and discipline because I just finished John Patrick's Money Management for Gamblers book just over the weekend, so that's stuck in my head. So I'll be turns out that guy John Patrick, he wrote a ton of books, and he's got some videos from the 90s that you can find on YouTube. I think there's some DVDs out there you can buy. But he is conservative as hell. He's more conservative than we are. And so I think that's why I like him. It was pretty much once you reach your goal, he's done for the day. If you're up within the first 15 minutes, we've talked about this. If you're up within the first 30 minutes since you got to the casino, you drove 2 hours, but then you're up, go ahead and stop.
Oh, it's so tough.
And so he was driving 2.5 hours to Atlantic City with his mother, no less, on sometimes.
He probably drove 55 too.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, probably wasn't driving like we are. But yeah, but he would, if he was up, then he'd stop, and so I think that's the key is for as much as we say we like playing, we want to play, we want to win. And his focus was focus on small returns, and adhere to your goals and your stop loss goals. We talked about stopping when you're 50%. When you lose 50% of your bankroll, you should stop. Well, as I'm reading his book, he was stopping at 30%.
Well, how much did he ever say how much he would buy in for?
It sounded like he was buying in for about 500.
Because if you're buying in for 1,000, then 50% is a lot, but 30% is still a good chunk, But when you're at 300, then those. Well, and he adjusted those charts in his book to be up, and that's kind of where he stands at saying, okay, 50% is for everybody, but I am even more conservative than that. And so that's the deal, is because he's saying, if you go with a $200, with a $200 bank, 50%, that's only $100, so he understands that people are going to be, going to do what they want to do. But it sounded like, he was kind of a $500 session kind of guy, and even that might be a little high. I mean, he was basically going in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s. In which case, $500 bankroll back then would have been huge. Yeah, probably a lot of tables were $5.
Well, there were 25-cent and 50-cent tables.
Yeah.
so that's the thing. It's completely different. So, and then for us, we've always said, oh, we'd love to play with $1,000 every time we go, and then play, green chip players. Well, it sounds like he was always a conservative red chip player, which is fine. And that was the thing, he'd be fine with winning $200, $300, $50, $87. But then he also played a bunch of other things. He didn't just play craps. He was mostly a sports bettor, or majority was sports betting. But he did love craps and love baccarat, and what else did I say? Oh, he liked Pygao, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't mention that, but he really liked Pygao. So he's got a ton of books. I've got the baccarat book, which also includes slots, I think. And then we've got the advanced book of craps, and then the regular book on craps, and this money management book. But yeah, then back to strategy. Yeah, so inside betting, and then probably, there's a one and done kind of strategy that I've got in my head. There's 2 hits and down, and then there's the rule of threes. So we'll just have to see what works, see what I see is on the table, see if I can catch a trend. One of the plays would be basically to lay 64 across. Basically minimum bets on all the numbers. $10 4 and 10, $10 5 and 9, $12 6 and 8, and then just let it go. Have it hang out there. One of those strategies then is once one of those, once something hits, pick up the 4 and 10. Once something else hits, then pick up the 5 and 9, and then you just got the 6 and 12. So that way you're, reducing the amount of exposure you have. We always talk about, 7 exposure of how much money do you want. And this is one of my, one of the bets that you got 64 exposed.
Right.
So, but, if you're rolling, 10 to 15 times, you're going to hit, you can hit a bunch of those numbers. So we'll just have to see. And then I think probably once I get to a point, then I'll just turn things off. And then hopefully be able to keep some of that 64, including some of the winnings.
Well, in your opinion, do you think it's easier to turn things off and to pull things down at the shoot the win as opposed to a table with, a stick man and 2 dealers?
Well, yeah, no, that's kind of where this is really coming from. Is I've got 100% control to turn on and off my bets at any within that 20 seconds before the roll.
Right.
When I want.
Which really messes with your when like the dice are thrown off the table.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't do nothing.
The superstitions get real funky when it comes to this. When it comes to the shoot to win, because there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do when the dice come off the table.
Your bet's locked in.
Yeah, or when the waitress comes up to the shooter, or when anybody comes up to the shooter, once the dice are out,
because those are times
screwed.
That you would have turned your bets off.
Absolutely, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, you really have no interaction with the dealer whatsoever.
Right.
But before you'd want to know their name and you'd want to get to know them, but now they're a piece of the machinery.
They're just now pushing the dice around.
Yeah, they're just pushing the dice.
But you feel much more comfortable controlling your bets on the shoot to win.
Well, I think before I had this ego or this persona where, I didn't want to put, 64 across and only put it out there for one bet.
Right.
And turn it off and then have your bets sit out there and just be in the way.
Because then when they start hitting, the dealer looks at you like, "Hey, dumbass, why aren't you on?"
There's guilt involved. There's dealer shaming and dealer guilt.
Yeah.
As well as getting shamed from the shooter as well. The shooter will look at you, "Why aren't you betting on me?" And then he keeps rolling for 30 rolls, and then you're like, "Oh, you're kicking yourself." But this is your strategy. This is your play. This is how you were playing. It's you're not playing for everybody else. You're not playing for everybody else's appreciation. And I think that's something that gets missed, or I don't know, maybe it's even subconscious of just, I didn't feel comfortable putting my money out there for one bet. If I did 110 inside, $25 5 and 9, $30 6 and 8, and just doing that out for one bet, you'd make $35. Great. Okay, then turn it off. Okay, it's $35 per player. That's a good goal.
Right.
But it didn't necessarily, you're not going to do that because you don't feel good about the dealer and being shamed and feeling guilty about all that. Yeah, the shoot to win has pluses, definitely. And control is one of them, and
that's the big one, really.
Well, we've played bubble craps.
Push the button. Come on, push the button.
And we've seen the mini bubble craps, the ones that we saw at the D,
right?
With the individual where you're at your own little terminal and you got your own little set of dice. And we thought, oh, that's kind of cute, that's kind of cool. Well, that's kind of a little bit of what you're doing, except for you're getting to really throw the dice. And so I think that's the key is it's throwing the dice. It's the big difference, and then it's a different surface. So, it's definitely got less bounce. So it's I think more opportunity to have influence. So we'll just have to see. But I'm definitely digging it. Okay. So where were we? We were control the shoot to win.
Yeah, we were talking about some of the differences between a regular table and a shoot to win table.
I've had a bunch, so I'm waiting for your opinion on it, just because I need another set of eyes. But one of the different things that I've got to still figure out how to do is, well, one of the pluses, during COVID is you don't have to worry about chips, so you don't have the dirty chips, and you don't have to stand in line at the cashier, so that's a plus. But because you don't have chips, one, you don't have anything to tip the waitress with, and so you always have to have cash. You always have to bring $1. Make sure you got change, because then you feel like a dick if you
right.
order something and don't. Then two. You would typically use your chips to count how many wins the shooter had, because you could keep, I just won this bet from this person, I just won that bet. And
right.
In your chip stack, you would mark, how many. Well, now you don't have that, so now you can kind of forget, other than they've got all the dice, all the numbers
sure.
displayed, but
unless you take mental note of what your bankroll was when you started that hand, yeah, that would be easy I can see that, sure.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of weirdness there of how it's just different. It's the way that you used to track a table. It's just different. So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, the camaraderie is different because you're spaced out more. But I've talked about it. It's just different during COVID because everybody's wearing a mask. But I think at the real table, they're all doing the same thing. If somebody's got a good roll, they're all high-fiving still.
Right.
And you'll see that the real tables are still doing what they want to do. But the shoot to win is definitely it's a little different.
Well, it's probably, and I mean I haven't experienced it yet, but I would guess it's almost more like bubble craps.
Push the button.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's
because that's a different feel at bubble craps than it is at a real craps.
Well, no,
table.
it's to be honest, it's exactly the same, other than you're throwing dice.
Yeah.
It's you put in everything. Now the question I have, and this was a question I'm going to pose to another podcast to see if I can get the answers, is because it's a computerized system. Do your bets have to be true? Like, do you need to have a $6? Do you need to have a $12 6 and 8, or can you put a $10 6 and 8 or an $8 6 and 8? Can you do off number bets, but it'll give you the right percentage in change, because it'll give you $5.89. Will it still give you true give you your true value? And I just don't know that. I mean, I think maybe I might need to experiment with that while we're at the table.
Well, if you placed a $10 6 at a regular table, they would pay you 11.
No.
They do pay you 11.
Do they pay you 11?
Yes.
Do all of them pay you 11? or just the ones you played at?
I mean, I've never made I've always made the correct bet, but I mean, I've seen guys play a $10 six and it hit and get $11.
I've seen some pay and they get 10. I mean, I've seen it where they just give them a flat
Well,
bet.
I assume the way they do it, and maybe, well, I mean, I think I'm correct, but they pay you the correct amount on the first as much as they can. So if it's a $10 bet, the $6 will pay 7, and then the last 4 pays even. That gives you 11.
I mean, that makes sense to me, but yeah, I don't know. So anyway, that was something I was going to ask another podcast and see if I can get an answer. But then I guess since you're here, I can experiment a little bit and just, you know.
Well, that might even be something we asked the pit boss.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's still so new that they don't even know. It's all computer. They're not focused on that machine at all. You'll notice. It's like the redheaded stepchild. I mean, they don't care.
Always mind the stepchildren.
Well, and then here's the other thing. You got to watch out and make sure you do get paid, because there have been some glitches. And what happens when there's a computer glitch?
Yeah,
Then I've been at the table and they've shut it down for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, trying to figure something out. So you still have to pay attention. But, you know, I'm just curious, because now that, you know, you're not getting solid dollars, you're getting change, you know, does having a correct bet even matter anymore? You know, can I put out a $23 six? You know, something stupid. But if it pays the same, then it should matter.
Yeah.
And then therefore, does that change your strategy at all? You know, does it change the way you work your bankroll?
I wouldn't change the way I work. I would still make the same exact bets I've always made.
I don't know. I've got a question in my head and I don't have the answer yet. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, I'm really eager to hear what you think about the shoot to win table. Now, on the shoot to win note, that is something we're going to do. So there's a LAUBERGE in Baton Rouge, which says they have a shoot to win table. So I want to go check that one out, see if it's the exact same way as in Lake Charles. And then on our agenda for our next trip, we're actually I'm thinking about going. If everything works out well for Shotgun, then we'll both be going. But if not, you know, I think I want to go to BILOXI in New Orleans in a couple of weeks, like the Monday after Super Bowl. If there's going to be a dead time in a casino, I think it would be the week after Super Bowl. So I think that'd be a real good time to go.
And we also decided it would be better to go after Super Bowl so that we don't lose any money on making bets, because you can do sports bets in Mississippi.
Well, there's that, but then the other thing is we want to stay away from crowds, and the sports book probably would be a crowd for Super Bowl.
It better be. It better have a crowd.
Yeah, actually, I'm hoping for the casino to have one. But we don't need to be there for that. So, but I have seen that Harrah's in New Orleans has a shoot to win table, and then I know that there's a handful of shoot to win tables in Biloxi. So that'll be our next trip, is scouting out all the shoot to win tables between Houston and Biloxi. So I guess the one thing I'm curious about Louisiana, because of COVID, are they still shut down at 50%, where, you know, every other machine is off? And I think that's still the case. The other thing they put in is they stopped serving alcohol at 11 p.m., which I don't know if I mentioned that to you, but
you did mention that. I think that's just sad.
Well, it was basically to make sure people didn't congregate.
I get it.
I get it. And it wasn't for the casino. It was, I think, more for the state.
Right.
You know, to prevent bars and stuff to stay open too late, or restaurants to stay open too late. So I'm curious to see if that, because I know that the clubs at the casino opened back up, I think either a week or 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was for New Year's, or maybe after New Year's. But I know that they opened back up because they advertised that they were having, acoustic guitar players singing kind of thing going on at the bar. So we'll have to see if, well, actually we're not going to see because we're not going to be out there in the evening. So I guess it doesn't matter. Maybe that'll be the trip to Biloxi. We'll figure that out. Well, then again, I will probably go out maybe around midnight just to kind of check it out and see what it looks like. I mean, we can still do scouting.
Yeah.
So we can find out. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they're serving alcohol after 11 in Louisiana or not. So, let's see. We've been jumping all over the place.
Yeah, we never did really talk. We talked around strategy, but
yeah, I was just going to circle back around to strategy. So, I basically talked about the inside. Well, I talked about my basic strategies. I mean, I'm showing up to the table playing don't, and then just kind of getting a feel for the table. And then when I do play positive, I'm going to play the inside numbers, and most likely I'll start with minimum bets. And then it'll be a matter of, one and done or 2 hits and off, or leaving them out there if it keeps getting hit. Having 64 across, is a different strategy than having 44 inside.
Sure.
That's another play, just playing sisters. There might just be times where I'm just playing the 6 and 8.
Right, or even 5 and 9 if that seems to be hot.
Well, or the 4 and 10. The last couple times I've been to Lake Charles, the 4 and 10 have done me well. So I think sisters positive is, and then 64 across and 44 inside, and then I'd love to go to 110 inside, but that's a bigger bankroll.
Yeah.
And bigger 7 exposure.
Well, and that might not be this trip.
Well, and that's exactly what I'm thinking is, this trip is a scouting trip for you, and our first time in 2021 out to a casino, and if I'm coming back in 2 weeks and I'm staying for a couple of days, I don't need to buy in for $1,000. I can buy in for, I'm thinking about buying in between $300 and $500.
Right.
And then 20% win goal, but if I'm if I'm at 15%, I might just go ahead and stop, because I've been there before where I'm at 15% and all I want to do is get that 20% goal, and then I lose it all.
Yeah.
It's sticking to my guns, practicing what I'm preaching, and this time I'm writing it down, and I'm not sure how many times I'm going to shoot, or how I'm going to, shoot the way I want to shoot. So we'll just have to see. So, how about you? What did you decide? Did you bring a small bankroll? How much were you going to play? What were you thinking? Since you haven't played in
I haven't played in a really long time, but I brought 1,000. But I think I'm going to be. Well, one of the things we talked about at the casinos that we don't go to a lot is kind of sitting at a table and doing the do-we-don't, just so we can build some comps. But I also think that's a good way to sit down at a table to see how the table's doing.
Sure. Well, and it's something you can't do on your own at the computer terminal.
Right.
They won't, the computer, if you're betting on the pass line, it won't let you make the don't pass bet. If you're playing on the don't pass, it won't make you let a pass line bet. So you can't actually do the do we don't where you can at a real craps table. So we actually did talk a little bit about, because we haven't been together at the shoot to win table, that just to get acclimated, we could play the do we don't, have a few drinks, and see what an hour of the do we don't between two people look like as far as comps go. Will they know we're together, or will they not know we're together? And probably if they don't listen to this podcast, we're okay.
But I think it's still a good way to sit down at a table and kind of gauge where it's at.
Oh, sure. Sure.
But I think 6 and 8 for minimum, and see where that goes. 44 across, inside. I think that's a good bet too. I do like the regression play, but you know, I mean, unless we're going to start, I got to have a bigger bankroll to do it. Just like you said, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, even a 110 inside regression. I mean, if you're at a $10 table, it works, but not a 15.
Yeah.
Because then you're 51 inside.
Yeah.
Or no, wait, it's more than that. 15, 60,
30 and 30, 66.
66 inside. Yeah, so from 110 to 66, I mean, that's still a big risk. And you just won 35, so then you 35 out of that 66.
Still 31.
Yeah, you're still risking 31, so. Well, I think that can be it probably for the on the way recording. I think we've done enough. We'll do another little session between Lake Charles and Baton Rouge.
Sure.
And then definitely on the way back from Lake Charles in a couple of days. So want to say thanks for everybody for tuning in, and there's more where this is coming from.
Cheers.
Adios. All right, well, I guess we're back on the air, so we can go ahead and talk a little bit, sir.
Have had a interesting almost 24 hours since the last time we spoke.
Yeah,
A little over, but
no, actually, specifically because we checked in at 4.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
So it's almost the exact same time.
Yeah, so we arrived at Golden Nugget yesterday right around 4. Was able to find some parking on the ground level, and then I managed to lock my keys in a keyless remote car that's not supposed to lock when the remote is inside. So that started our trip a little fun, but thankfully for AAA, they were able to come and get the keys out of the car without causing any damage, getting it open, and got here fairly quickly, so it was almost painless.
Yeah, it took like an hour. Well, I mean, we checked in and then, then called, and it took him basically like 30 minutes to get out here, and then once he was here, popped your door, and that was it.
It took him less than a minute probably to pop my door, but
well, yeah, started off our casino trip with locked keys in a car.
I have a bad habit of almost doing something silly or stupid almost on every trip. One time when we went to Vegas, I managed to leave my phone in the cab, when it dropped us off from the airport to our hotel.
And it drove off.
And it drove off, of course. And we were able to get it back later that evening. So I've managed to do stupid things, but managed to karma on my side, be able to recover and not lose personal items. So rough start, kind of.
Small misstep.
Yeah, a small misstep, but it ended up not being a big deal. And so from there, we just kind of hung out and went over to LAUBERGE.
Checking into the Golden Nugget. Being a Monday, weekday, it was, it wasn't necessarily crowded. The casino wasn't crowded.
I'll say the check-in was within minutes. I mean, I don't think we waited more than 8 or 10 minutes to get you in line and get our cards to room keys to go upstairs.
Mm-hmm. It was very fast. So like we were thinking, it wasn't very crowded on a Monday. So that worked out well. Now, didn't mean that there weren't people at the hotel or at the casino, because there were definitely people there, because they only had the 2 restaurants open. They had Saltgrass Steakhouse open, and then they had the Claim Jumper. Oh, I guess they also had Vic and Anthony's was open also, the high-end steak place. So, but all of those places were packed.
Yeah, they were. And this was around 5:30ish?
6 o'clock,
Yeah, 6 o'clock,
Yeah, dinner time.
Yeah.
But we were a little amazed to see how busy the restaurants were. But then they were all eating and nobody was playing, so, the casino was fairly empty. The Golden Nugget, they've got their, 5 tables with then a crapless table, but they only had 1 working yesterday, which was a $15 minimum when we got there. And they were doing about 4 people a side, so 8 to a table. And everybody was wearing a mask, but again, if you were smoking or drinking, then your mask wasn't on. So we noted that, and then went across over to LAUBERGE and was able to scout out over there and show you what was going. And yeah, LAUBERGE has 4 craps tables. They've got the shoot to win table, and they've got the bubble craps table.
Push the button. Come on. Push the button.
But we did sit down at the shoot to win table. And,
Well, actually, you did. I didn't play that
That's true.
session.
Yeah, no. So you were curious, so you really wanted to watch me play.
Right. Well, it was my first time seeing the computer layout on the screen, so I wanted to make sure that I kind of understood it before I actually put my money in it.
Right.
You know?
Well, you have 20 seconds, so.
Right. Exactly. So I just kind of wanted to watch the action, and I'll tell you, the very first thing I actually noticed was, it was a $10 table, and you had a couple of 6s and 8s at $12, and one hit, and it paid $14, and then all of a sudden it said you won $26,
Yeah.
which I thought was, obviously I knew what was going on, but I thought, man, I just thought it was confusing for it to say that,
I guess
because it left your bet, your $12 bet, still up.
Yeah, no, I guess I never noticed that, or never. After you said it, then I was like, oh yeah. But yeah, we know that you only make $14 on it, but yeah, the computer says you win 26.
And see, I would be okay when it said you won 26 if your bet
came down
with the win.
Yeah, but it stays up there, so it should have just said you won
14, which makes sense to me. I guess that's the computer or the casino's way of making you think you're winning more than you're winning.
It's probably just something the computer did.
Well, I think they could change it if they wanted, but I thought that was a little misleading. I feel bad for new players.
Because they're going to think they're winning more than they are.
Right, and unless they're really so
false sense of confidence.
Yes, so I didn't really like that. But overall, I really liked the graphics on the actual craps table were very cool. You can't really see. You can't
see the amount.
Yeah, you can see the chips. Like if people are betting, 10. Let's say they did 44 inside. You can see that there's chips on those, and in the position that player is in. But you can't really tell how much it is.
Yeah, you can't see the value.
There's no dollar values on the chips or anything like that.
Sometimes it looks like there's either, and it's not even red chips. I think it's white chips.
Yeah.
And then, but then they do turn to green. So when you're betting $25, they will be green.
Right.
But then the center of the chip is the color of your position. And so you're able to identify, other people's chips. They're also in the right place on the board.
I didn't realize the color thing, but I knew that they were in the right position for the player. And the reason that was so easy is because it's only 5 players at a time with them.
Yeah, well, 3 actually.
No, it was more than 3 players.
2 sides. 5 total. So you would only have 3 people betting on one side.
Oh, well, yeah, on one side, yes.
So you can't see the other side.
Correct. But there was, the plexiglass is in between, and they are skipping a seat.
Yeah, so we're still at the 50% crowd at the electronic game. So the slots, video poker, all that, they're at 50% still. So they've got every other one turned off. So the bubble craps, they had, they've got 8 seats, but they only had 4 working, 50% off. And then the same thing with the shoot to win. They've got 10 seats, but they only had half working, so there were basically 5 seats available.
Right. But with skipping the seats and with the plexiglass, I felt very comfortable.
Distance-wise, social distancing.
Social distancing-wise. I didn't play that first round, but after dinner, we went back and I did play. Well, actually, after dinner and a nice cigar.
Yeah.
Then we went back and I did play.
It was after midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we scouted out pretty well. I sat down and played for a little bit, and I think I ended up losing $50.
45, something like that. Yeah.
And then we had dinner. In which case, we had dinner at the old Jack Daniel's bar in the LAUBERGE casino,
and it is now called Food and
Brews.
Yeah.
Which apparently they lost the contract, or my theory is Tillman Fertitta, who owns the Golden Nugget, also owns the Houston Rockets, also owns the Toyota Center,
Also
where the
owns
Rockets
Landry's.
plays. Landry's and Saltgrass and all these, about probably 60 different restaurants. But anyway, they've got the Jack Daniel's Lounge inside Toyota Center, where the Rockets play. I could imagine that he pretty much said, "Hey, leave LAUBERGE because you're mine now."
This is just a hypothetical. This is a guess.
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
This is a guess on our part, but I'm knowing, seeing as that we're Houstonians and Tillman is a Houstonian, knowing his personality, I definitely see that.
Yeah.
That when he bought the Rockets a couple of seasons ago, but I'm assuming the contract probably with Jack Daniels went through.
Sure.
And
that was probably it. They didn't renew the contract.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so they said January 1st they made the switch from the Jack Daniel's bar to the Food and Brews, and then changed their menu up a bit. And actually, the barbecue was great.
Yeah, the ribs were really good.
Yeah, they've got really good food, and then they've got a ton of taps.
They do have a ton of taps.
Probably close to 40 or 50. I probably need to count them.
And I will say that they are the highest taps I've ever seen.
Tallest,
the highest, tallest taps I've ever seen. The girl bartender behind the bar was having to get up on her tippy toes to pour them.
Yeah, they are pretty high. I never noticed because I'm tall, and I was always sat at the bar and I just didn't see it.
Right.
So, but yeah, so had dinner, and then went back over to the Golden Nugget, and then now it's 10:30, 11 o'clock, and all the tables are full, so there's no reason for us to play. And we weren't going to play because we said we weren't going to play in the evening. So we went out to the pool area at the Golden Nugget and had a cigar, and I had a couple of beers, and kind of just sat around, talked about what we were doing, and then strategy for the next day.
Well, you say strategy for the next day, but then after those cigars, we decided to go back to LAUBERGE.
Yeah, so we did go back to LAUBERGE after midnight, and then sure enough, we were both able to get on the table.
Yeah, and I really think the reason we went back is because I wanted to play.
Sure, yeah, you got to get at least a little acclimated.
Yeah, it's been well over a year since I had played, so I was a little anxious and made profit. I mean, we didn't play but maybe 35, 40 minutes. But I walked away with more money than I came in with, so I was happy with that.
Yeah. Well, and again, to remind everybody, the shoot-to-win table is the electronic table where you're basically putting money in a machine and then using the monitor to make all your bets. Right. And then you're throwing dice, but it's on a glass top that has like a plastic film over the top of it. So it's not a cushiony felt thing or a microfiber thing or anything like that.
Yeah, the dice definitely hit differently.
They do different. So what was your first impression?
Well, I only rolled once.
Well,
and
the first impression.
I rolled 20 rolls and hit 1 point. So my first impression is love it. But yeah, I definitely need to spend more time on it rolling to get that bounce. Because it's definitely different than a table that has felt.
Yeah. Well, so and then you were shooting from straight out. You don't normally shoot straight out.
Right. I usually stick one, and I was straight out. But it was still able to.
I would say it's still working for you.
Yeah. No. I mean, I still was, gotten a nice little rhythm and really pounded the inside numbers. I mean, I wasn't all over the place. I was, 6 and 8 mainly, but 5 and 9 a little bit. And not much else did I hit. Oh, fours. Actually, I was killing fours.
You were killing fours
and
last night, too.
Neither one of us were on it.
Yeah.
I think I hit four of them.
Yeah, I know you hit 3 hard. I know you hit 3 hard fours.
Yeah.
And
so we should have jumped on the 4, but it was my very first roll back after a year on a real table, so I was playing relatively conservative.
Yeah, I was too, and then that was the thing is you had a great roll, but I didn't really make any money. Because I was playing extremely conservative too. Because the first time I rolled, I ended up losing $50. I'm
well, you sevened out, yeah.
Yeah, well, I had 2 rolls and both were 3 and out.
Yeah.
And so and I had 44 inside and then a pass line bet, so I had basically pass line with odds, so 20. So I had 54 out there, and so you know, 3 rolls and I'm down $54.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then I know I don't like rolling at night. I'm not good at night. So
yeah, no, and we took it easy, but with my roll, I actually ended up $50 up.
Yeah.
And
well, you helped me catch up a little bit, but
yeah.
Again, I think I was just on the 6 and 8s, and you weren't hitting a lot of 6 and 8s.
Well, and I lost money when you did roll, but
yeah.
You know, I caught up and made some money. So, you know, we had said on the ride up here that, you know, we kind of wanted to keep the session short, and once you get up, stay up and keep up. You know, go ahead and enjoy that profit. And you asked me, do I want to stay? And I'm like, yeah, of course I want to stay, but I'm up 50, so let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was late by then.
Well, and then so you cashed out, but I was still on the board because you had just shot, and then that really small guy, the kid, basically started rolling.
He looked like a kid, yeah.
And he was basically, and that was the thing that was kind of interesting that I forgot about. So he was at stick right 1 with the computer screen, and then the space next to him on the left, which would be stick right or stick left.
Technically stick left 1.
His computer was stick right 1, then he'd move and go to stick left 1 and roll from there. And it's like, oh yeah, I guess of course you could move your position if you want to roll. You know, nobody's going to say anything. So he did that, and I'm like, oh, okay, so now you can roll basically from either spot if you want to, because there's nobody there.
Well, and I thought where his computer spot was just too close to the wall.
Yeah, well, because there's no stick person, you're much closer to the wall in the middle. So, but, you know, he was setting the dice, but he had no real good throw. He was a rhythm roller.
But they were
all over the place.
Yeah, they were floating, they were crooked, they were left, they were
and
right.
So my whole thing was, okay, you know, I was on the 6 and 8, and I think he hit the 6, and then he hit the 8, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm back to being close to even.
Yeah, but from there almost he was.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is so I just took my 2 hits and down, and then you know, he was rolling, I think when I left
32,
the table.
I think he hit 32.
Well, when I left the table, he was at 11.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, there's no way he's going to go anymore, so let's just cash out and call it a day and come back in the morning. And then we walk around, cash out, and lo and behold, he's still rolling. He ends up going for 32.
But I think he did not hit an 8. And I think he only hit a 6 2 times.
We did look at numbers. He was all over the place with numbers. I mean,
he would have yos and 3s.
He would have hit the ATS if the ATS was there.
For sure.
So, but yeah, so you kick yourself when you can't stay up there for those people that roll those things. But again, that wasn't my plan. That wasn't my goal. So I adhered to my goals, and you know, so for the 2 sessions, I ended up being down, you know, what I think. $13, right?
Yeah,
I think it was $13 for the 2 sessions, and played for, you know, hour and a half or so total for Friday. So I figured, okay, that's good. I didn't lose my money. Monday. So, but
well, and I will say, I think one of the bigger differences between a chip table and this win to shoot table, shoot to win. Excuse me, that's my dyslexia kicking in.
Right.
Is the fact that the stick man, you can almost tell they hate being there.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one girl that subbed in for a little bit and to give him a break, and she was cool. She was a little enthusiastic.
She was paying attention.
She was paying attention, but the other guy that was there for the majority of our time,
he was just there.
Yeah, he was just there. He would type in the number that you just rolled onto the computer screen, and he would wait for the 20 seconds to expire, and he would push you the dice, and then that was it. He virtually had nothing else to, you know, he wasn't talking to you.
Yeah.
He wasn't friendly.
But there's no interaction needed to be, you know, that's needed.
Well, you say that, but I mean, there's always customer service, and especially at a casino, that should be.
Well, see, you put your customer service hat on.
Well,
yeah, there always should be, but it's still so new.
It is.
I mean, it really has only been there 3 or 4 months now.
Is it even that long?
September, October, somewhere in there.
So October, about 4 months. 4 months, yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. So,
but as if you are a roller, it's nice not to get any heat from the stick man telling you to hit the back wall, because he's just not really paying attention.
No, you'd hear it occasionally.
Yeah, every
and
once in a while.
it was more like just they had to say it in order for just
for the
to say
eye
it.
in the sky.
Yeah, kinda, but
for the big boss man. But yeah, they weren't. It wasn't like he did anything to you.
No. So.
And I will say, I think the other thing that or at least I noticed, was it seemed like at that table there were people that weren't playing. Anybody else only played when it was their turn to shoot.
You said you noticed that. It was interesting, but it was kind of true. I mean,
well, the big Hispanic dude that had all black on,
yeah,
he was only playing himself. And then the little kid, he seemed like he was only playing himself.
Well, and that was the other thing. They'd get up from the table and go and talk to their friends at the real table and at the bubble craps table, and so they were running all over the place.
They were all over, yeah.
But he had his jacket on his chair, but he wasn't betting on anybody else. And then, but when the dice got around to him, then he'd have money down, and then he'd put more money in the machine. That was the other thing. In my position, I was in position 1, which is basically just left of the stick, or left of the box man, and. I can see the computer screen, and on the computer screen it shows all the positions, shows how much money you have in your machine, and then it also shows how much you've got on the line, or how much you're betting. And so a lot of times they'd have like 75 cents, or 5 cents, and they wouldn't have any money in the machine, but they'd still be holding the machine hostage.
Their spot, holding their spot,
and then waiting for them to roll, and then once the dice got to them, then they put in $100.
Well, and I will say, with only 5 maximum people at the table, your turn's going to come back around fairly quickly.
No, it does. It comes around very fast. So yeah, it's funny. I didn't notice that any other time, but last night, yeah, I could see that.
Well, previously you had been going on Fridays and Saturdays.
Well, that's true. My last several trips have been on the weekends.
So that might, kind of account for some of that.
So, but anyway, so got acclimated last night, and then basically talked to the pit boss to find out if they were going to keep the shoot to win table open, and or if they were going to close it down. They said they were going to keep it open all night, so we didn't have to come back in a couple hours, and could come back at 6 or 8 or 7 in the morning and play. So we were like, okay, cool, we're going to go to bed and then get up and let's head over there at 8. And so that's exactly what we did this morning.
But not all what we expected.
Yeah, so that was the interesting thing. So we get up at Gold Nugget, and we said, okay, well, if the Gold Nugget is going to have an empty table, then we might as well play at a real table. And sure enough, there was nobody at the table at the Gold Nugget when we got there. So we started playing at the Gold Nugget this morning.
And so I had 2 rolls and you had 2 rolls?
I had 2 rolls, you had 2 rolls.
And I
had 1 roll.
Because we decided just to leave because we were up. I had 2 very good rolls.
You had 2 very good rolls.
And one was 18 and one was 18 with 1 point, and the other one was
18 with 2 maybe, or 20 with 2?
No, it wasn't that many. I think it was 16 with 2 points, but I was hitting a lot of inside numbers, but I did hit 4 a couple more times, so I'm going to have to start playing 4 on myself.
Yeah. No, you did really, really good. So you shot first, and your stick left, and then I was next to you on the hook. And, we bet on you, and then I had a 2-1-2 on the bonus. You didn't hit it the first time, you hit it the second time?
I hit it the second time.
Okay, so you didn't hit it the first time, but you were hitting numbers.
I didn't even play it the first time.
Right. So, but you were hitting numbers, so we were up. Once you were rolling, you hit your first point, and then you hit a bunch of numbers. So I was making money there.
Oh, I was killing the 9, and you were on the 9.
Yeah, and I was the 9. I got the 9 from 10. It was that was the other thing. This morning it was a $10 table.
Right.
It went down from 15. So that was interesting. That Monday morning it was a $10 table at the Gold Nugget. So that was great. But anyway. So made money on your roll, and then here comes
I didn't make a whole bunch. Actually, I think my second roll is where you made all your money on the 9. My first roll, I was hitting some 6 and 8s, but I mean, I don't think I was $30 or $40 up when I 7'd out.
I got paid like 5 times.
Yeah.
So you hit like 5. You hit 5 numbers.
Yeah, I was hitting 6s and 8s fairly well.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was good. And well, I know what I didn't do. I didn't raise anything on that roll because it was our first roll. So I was just letting you hit the $10 bets, so I was making $14 a hit each time, but I was on the inside numbers. And then it was my turn to shoot. And I'm like, okay, well, $10 pass line, $10 odds, and then give me 44 inside. And then I think I rolled a 3, and then I rolled a 7.
Then you did roll twice because I made money on you the second time.
Oh, okay.
Because you hit 6 and 8 as points.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we both rolled twice.
We did roll twice. So, but my first roll was horrible.
Right, and I went.
And my rolls from last night were horrible.
I went pretty light, so I think I just lost $20.
Yeah.
And then
but then it came back around to you.
Yeah, because we were the only two at the table, which
and
I liked.
Then we both put down a 2-1-2 for the ATS.
And I actually had thought putting 4-2-4, but
and typically I would do a 5-1-5 or a 5-0-5, and I should have.
We should have, but still, this is literally my third roll.
Yeah.
Back from a hiatus of a year.
Well, and it's 8:15 in the morning.
Right.
So,
but I did manage to hit the small.
And then we also were betting with the dealers.
Yeah.
So we're able to make them some money. They were happy, so it was a very good morning.
And then I was out of the 20 rolls. Actually, the point was 10. I hit the 10, 6th or 7th roll, somewhere in there. And then I don't even remember what the point was after that, but I think it was 6. But I was, I was hitting 6 and 8, and the 9 I was killing
you were
the 9.
killing the 9.
And I wasn't on the 9, but you were.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, and I got that up to 25, and then I had my 8 and my 9 at 30 and 25, and then after they both hit, then I took them back down to 12 and 10. And then you still rolled for a couple.
And I had started my 6 and 8 at 18 apiece. And so when I first hit I think it was at 8 first, I raised both to 30 apiece.
Yeah.
And then hit it a roll or two later. And then.
Did you ever go down? Did you ever regress?
Yes, because I went to 44 inside.
Ah, you regressed to 44. Okay.
And that way I got my 5 and 9, but then I didn't hit 5 or 9, and hit 6 or 8 a few more times.
Of course.
So that time I actually should have stayed at my 30.
Yep.
But I was trying to cover more. I was trying to cover the inside, but ended up 150 up.
Yeah, I ended up so you hit, and that's the other thing. You ended up hitting half of the ATS. So we got paid 70 for our 2 on the small side. And then, so 70, and then, I made money on you too. So, for the 20-25 minutes we were at the table, I was up 270, and you were up
150.
150, and so.
And the difference was the 9.
Yeah. And so, that was like, okay.
You asked if I wanted to stay, and I mean, at the time we're still the only 2 at the table, and I did want to stay, and I did want to roll more, but like when you just have a 20.
A 20 roll.
A 20 roll. What's the chances of? And actually, my first roll wasn't bad either. So now I've had a decent roll and a good roll.
Over 10 rolls.
Right now, what's my third roll going to look like? And so that's why we decided to cut bait and just take our chips and go. And
we were over our 20% goal.
Well, for sure, more than easily.
So then there goes okay. Are we playing to have fun? Are we playing to win money? And we're there to win money. So let's call the end of that session. And so sure enough, we called an end to that session. And that was, again, we'd just gotten up. That was the casino we were staying in. We haven't even been to the shoot to win table. We haven't been to LAUBERGE yet. So.
Well, no, we did go to LAUBERGE after that.
Well, after. That's what I'm saying. We haven't been there yet. So.
We haven't played there yet.
Yeah.
Today.
So let's do 20 minutes here and then go see our other table.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. We cashed out and then walked over to LAUBERGE.
And that's where the surprise hit us.
Yeah. So and then to our surprise, the shoot to win table was decommissioned. Well, I won't say decommissioned. It was they had the hood up.
Yeah, they had all the hoods up.
Yeah. Actually, I put a few pictures on Instagram and social media showing that. Yeah, they. Initially I thought they were just doing routine maintenance and cleaning, doing a deep clean, which is great to see. You love seeing that they're wiping everything down for COVID and all that kind of stuff. But they had all the computer boxes open, like where you put in the tickets, so where you get your tickets and stuff, and then also the motherboard and all that, all that stuff. That was all up. You can see all the guts and the wires and stuff. And we ended up asking one of the guys what was going on, what they were doing. And lo and behold, they said that they were adding a tip button so you can tip the dealers. Because before that was one of those things where, there's another discussion of why are you going to tip somebody who's not doing anything for you, but it's the dealer. you got karma going on. But you had no way to tip the dealer because you don't have any chips to throw them.
Right.
So yeah, so apparently they were adding a button so that you could tip the dealer.
And we're hoping that this may help the dealer to become more engaged.
Yeah.
We say that, but I don't know that we really care.
Well, we don't, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's how good are the dealers if they know that they can earn tips? You know, what else can they do? You know, and you know, you had noticed that I think you noticed that last night was nobody was betting the middle bets.
Right, the hard ways and your horn bets. Yeah, nobody was really betting those.
And you were asking me, did I notice that? And I was like, yeah, because they don't have the stick guy advertising all those bets, saying, hey, who's going to do a hot bet? Who's going to do, who's going to be a horn bet?
There's nobody out there pimping them.
Yeah. So now that they got an opportunity to be tipped, well, maybe you'll see that go on. You know, the other thing was, if you don't have money on the pass line before you want to shoot, it'll pass you.
That's weird.
And so one of the girls, which is just the same as the bubble craps. I mean, if you don't have money down and the time runs out, then it goes to the person who has money on the pass line is going to be the shooter.
Right.
But I did notice the good dealer from last night was trying to remind people who are next in line of, hey, if you're going to shoot, make sure you have a pass line bet down. Well, that's a reason to tip.
Right.
You know, so if they're going to be able to do that, then okay, that gives me a reason to tip you.
But talk about the glitch.
I forget the glitch.
Well, if you have a pass line and you're rolling and you throw a 3 and you lose your pass line.
Oh yeah, we're gonna.
If the dealer's not paying attention, he's gonna push the dice back to you and you don't have a pass line.
Yeah, that was something I noticed. Is once you start. Yeah. Okay. So if you've got the dice and you're on the pass line, but you lose your pass line bet on the come out, so you roll a horn, basically a 3, 2, or 12. You'll lose your pass line bet, but the clock keeps running, to start for the next roll. Well, I've seen it before where nobody, the shooter doesn't put a pass line bet on, but the dice will come back out because everybody else is playing. And so you can actually shoot without having money on the line.
Because if the dealer's not paying attention, which most of the time they're not.
Well, they're paying attention to the clock.
And
they're
then
not looking at the bets.
They just push the dice back to you and you don't have a pass line bet. And that happened to the young man to your right during the first session that you played there that afternoon. And
that was the other thing. Yeah, you're able to add a pass line bet after the come out.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
Yeah, which typically you can't. That would have to be. You'd have to straddle on the line.
Right.
But here they would actually, let you, or the computer lets you add a pass line bet after the come out, which I don't know that that's an advantage. It'd be different if you could do that to the don't pass. Maybe I need to see if you can do that to the don't pass.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
After the come out?
Well, it actually kind of is an advantage to the house. That might be why it allows you to do it.
I don't know. So anyway, it's nice to have an extra set of eyes, sir. So you're catching a few things that I didn't catch, but yeah. So then this morning, the machine was shut down, going under maintenance to add the button, and so we decided to go out to Baton Rouge, and
which was part of the original plan.
Yeah.
We just did it a little bit earlier than we had initially.
Ended up being about the same time, but then went out to Baton Rouge to check out the casinos because I had heard a rumor that so there's another there's 3 casinos in Baton Rouge. There's LAUBERGE in Baton Rouge, and then there's the Hollywood Casino, and then the Belle of Baton Rouge. The Hollywood and the Belle are on full-fledged 3-story boats, and then LAUBERGE is on a barge, which is very similar to the one in Lake Charles. So went out to go see LAUBERGE because I had heard a rumor that they would have a shoot-to-win table.
Well, and actually what's funny is when we did our BILOXI trip
2 years ago.
2 years ago, we decided not to go to LAUBERGE because it's like 20 minutes off the freeway and it's just kind of out of the way. Mm-hmm. And we figured, we've got like 21 or 22, whatever the casinos it was that we visited. Yeah. So we decided not to go. So I actually had not been there.
Yeah, and I'd been there a couple times, and it's really nice. I mean, it's the same
beautiful.
caliber.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good-looking casino.
Yeah, no, it's the best casino. It's the best looking casino in Baton Rouge. It's the top of the three.
But it is not in a good location.
It's in a good location if you're an LSU student.
Right.
It's basically on campus, or not too far from it.
Well, it's around where all their farm research is, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, if you know where Tiger Stadium is, it's like 5 minutes from Tiger Stadium. So, but which means it's about 20 minutes from I-10. So it is a little bit of a haul from the highway, where the Bell and Hollywood are basically right there downtown, and you can get there in 5 minutes from the highway. So anyway, we went to go check out the LAUBERGE casino, and they've got 4 regular craps tables. They also have a a bubble craps machine.
Push the button!
But they did not have a shoot to win table, so we were a little disappointed.
Disappointed, yeah.
So of the 4 craps tables that were there, though, looked like they were $15 minimums, and they're doing 3 aside, and looked like they were promoting social distancing pretty well. It was empty.
Well, and I will say one of the things I liked about their craps tables was they did have a waiting list on the TV.
Yeah, that was the thing.
TV.
Yeah, I haven't encountered a waiting list yet at a casino, and so this was the first casino I'd been to.
For poker, yes, but not for craps.
Well, yeah, this was for craps. So they did have a waiting list, so you could get on the waiting list for the craps table. So the craps table there was full, they had 5 people there, but I just didn't want to get in because we talked about social distancing and not wanting to play with other people. So it wasn't empty, but the casino was empty.
Yeah.
The craps table was they had 5 people. So, and it looked like they were a bunch of regulars and just doing their same old stuff. They did have ATS out there, but they also had the sharpshooter bet.
Sharpshooter, yep.
So they had 2 bonuses available to play. So I think the only time we saw that was when we were at the old Monte Carlo in Vegas.
Oh yeah,
I think they had an ATS and sharpshooter on the same table.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so that was as crap shooters, Baton Rouge. Well, I'll go into the others, but so that was they're the ones that had the most. They had the most tables. They had 4. They looked good quality. The casino is really nice, and it looked like you could have a good time. They were doing temperature checks at the door. They had a little different software they were using. They didn't have the handheld devices. It looked like they had iPads that would had thermometers, so it would read your temperature, from afar. So, but it was a little different. What was interesting to us, though, is LAUBERGE in Lake Charles and LAUBERGE in Baton Rouge, totally doing things completely different.
Yes.
It wasn't standardized where they were doing the exact same thing. They were doing their own things. Temperature checks at the door were different, and then how they were handling the craps table was different. So,
and the fact that they didn't have the shoot to win.
Yeah. So and that's what I thought they would have a shoot to win table. So I was I was very disappointed. So anyway, so instead of trying to play or wait for the tables to open up for us to get on, we decided that we scouted it out. It's a great looking place, but there's no reason for us to go. The other thing is, it was a $15 table.
It was a $15 table.
So we just got off a $10 table, and it's a $10 shoot to win table in Lake Charles. So why bother playing at 15 on a place we haven't played before? So anyway, we walked around, took a look. Again, it's a really great looking casino. If you're in the Baton Rouge area, or if you're going to LSU, would definitely recommend going. But anyway, so we took a look and then headed out, and then decided to go take a look at the Hollywood casino on our way out. And so went back into town, and so I guess the other thing, LAUBERGE has garage parking. The Hollywood casino does not have garage parking, so you are parking in a surface lot exposed to the elements, which today's an overcast day, so it wasn't a big deal. But then you have to go in through this lobby and then walk down a big catamaran to get on the boat, and then it puts you on the 3rd level of the boat, and then the craps tables are on the 1st level, so you had to walk downstairs which was fun. But
Well, that also means you had to walk up 2 flights
yeah,
to get out
well,
of there.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, leaving your huffing and puffing, but getting there, you're all excited.
Right.
So Hollywood Casino has one full-size table, and then they also have one half-size table.
It's a really weird shaped table.
And I wouldn't even call it it's not a tub, because I call it tub where you can actually throw from both sides.
Right.
You know, where you got the number, 4 through 10 going, just one set of numbers versus 2 set of numbers. But no, this was
the back wall is extra high.
yeah, it's like a basically they cut the table in half and then extended the wall at the end that you throw to.
Right. Or it kind of looks like a stadium.
Yeah. Well, because they put plexiglass all around it, so it's like a salad bar too.
Yeah.
You know, so they had a sneeze guard all the way around, so when people watched, they wouldn't sneeze on the dice. No, but they did not have the small table open, the half table open. They did have the big table open. They had 2 players playing, and then that table was a $15 minimum. All the odds were 20 times odds.
Yes.
So at all the casinos. So LAUBERGE and this one, Hollywood. So, but again, why play at a $15 table if we got $10 tables back at Lake Charles?
If we're going to play 15, we're going to play at one of our home casinos where we can build our comps up.
Yeah, as opposed to someplace where we're not going to earn any comps.
Yeah, when most likely never going to really want to spend the night.
Well, and I think that's what we decided is after this trip, there's really no reason to go back to Baton Rouge.
Almost, yeah, even if we're going to New Orleans. And we kind of liked it because it was kind of like every 2 hours you could stop at a casino and get out of the car and go do something. But
Baton Rouge is 2 hours east of
Lake Charles,
and then it's another hour and a half to New Orleans. So it's kind of in between. But yeah, we thought that, you could stop every 2 hours and hit a casino on your way to Biloxi. Well, that's true, but I don't know that you want to play. Yeah, and then if they only have one table running and there's a waiting list, then, just keep going. So I don't think it's worth the stop for craps players. Now, they had plenty of other machines. Oh, one of the things we noticed is they didn't have any baccarat.
At Hollywood, yeah.
At Hollywood or at LAUBERGE.
Yeah, or
in Baton Rouge. So Baton Rouge doesn't have baccarat, which was kind of odd. But just they don't have those players there, so they don't cater to them. So they cater to the players they know, and it looks like they're slot players. There's a ton of slot machines.
A ton of slots. Yeah.
So, but anyway, so then we had been to the Belle of Baton Rouge before, which was the other boat, and they're the 3rd casino in town. They're definitely the lower level. They weren't going to be as nice. We'd been there before, and the tables that we saw there were crap. And they had a full table that was, just in the worst.
Oh, the felt was terrible.
Yeah, they had stains on it and everything. So
that was a couple of years ago, but that was probably the worst table I've ever played on.
Yeah, that was in a casino.
Yeah.
So
I think we played on one bad table, I want to say in Blackhawk.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know that I could 100% say that. And that one I don't think was so much dirty as it was just worn.
Right. Yeah, this one was dirty, and so I knew that the casino would be dirty. And then they had a half table too that we could play on. But I mean, why bother when we've got so much better quality tables back in Lake Charles? So we opted not to go see the Belle, and pretty much then decided to strike Baton Rouge off our list as a craps destination.
But that was kind of the whole point in this trip, was to scout it out again and see where it was at.
Well, we didn't know what was going to happen after COVID. What restrictions they were going to do, what new ideas they were going to put in, and
I will say both of those casinos definitely had plenty of hand sanitizer around, had plenty of signs, was trying to remind you of your social distancing. Oh, the velvet ropes.
Well, so there were velvet ropes around the players at the craps table at LAUBERGE in Baton Rouge. So you had like a buffer, so the crowd couldn't get right behind you. They actually had, they had ropes around you so that you couldn't have onlookers so much. So they were actually promoting social distancing really, really well. The other thing is...
Well, and the thing I did like about Hollywood was it's a smoke-free
Well,
inside.
Both of them were.
Oh yeah, actually. You're
Yeah,
right.
that's what I was going to say next was, the Baton Rouge casinos are smoke-free because they have smoking areas that are outside, and then they've added slot machines to an outdoor patio, a covered outdoor patio.
Well,
So
we went into one of those slot rooms where it was a double door, and then you walked in and people were smoking, and man, did that place reek.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Go figure.
Well, of course, but I mean, it just reeked.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but that was still open air.
Yeah, and it still reeked.
Yeah, no, I was saying so. So they there's no smoking inside the casinos, but then they do have smoking areas, and the smoking areas have slot machines, but no table games. But yeah, again, LAUBERGE Baton Rouge is the best casino. Then it's Hollywood. But if you're a table game player, it's really only LAUBERGE.
Yeah, Hollywood didn't have that many table games at all.
They had a couple of blackjack things, but then it was mostly it's all slots.
Yeah.
I did see they had a video blackjack, with the female, the
Oh
TV
right,
screen.
yeah, I saw that one too. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I guess Baton Rouge just being more of a regional player kind of thing. They're not getting a lot of tourists like other destinations. So, anyway, so decided then to hang it up at Lake Charles, at Baton Rouge, and head back to Lake Charles. And so that's exactly what we're doing, and we're about
we're close actually.
10 minutes away from our casino now. So, anything else you want to add about Baton Rouge?
No, I mean it was good to do. I mean, that's why we planned on spending the night 2 nights so that we would have the time to make this drive.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was basically a scouting trip for you.
Right.
And then since we were going to stay a couple days and we didn't want to play too much, we decided let's go check out Baton Rouge. Well, because again, we wanted to see if they had a shoot to win table.
And maybe next time we come out here, we'll actually do the Tabasco plant tour.
Yeah, I will say, the one on our list is to go to the Tabasco plant, and because that's in Louisiana.
I do like me some Tabasco.
Spicy food's good. So we'll probably do that some other time, but on our way to Biloxi for our next little trip. But yeah, so I guess that's it. And then so now we're heading back to the Golden Nugget. We're going to try to do probably a session later this evening, and then play in the morning.
We might try to go for a happy hour session if the tables allow it, and then probably or one later tonight, and then a session in the morning. And I still, if possible, I would like to get back on the real craps table at Golden Nugget for just a few more rolls, even if they don't end up being as good as they were today. I still would like to roll a few times on a real table.
Yep. No, well, it was nice to hit the ATS, right?
Well, exactly.
And then I'm kicking myself for only doing a 2-1-2 instead of a 5-0-5.
Well, hell, I'm kicking myself for not doing 25-10-25. Hindsight, but
Yeah.
I think anytime you can put $2 down and get 70 back, that's still a pretty good.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's still pretty good.
Yeah. So.
No, I don't. That's. I'm excited for tonight to see what the tables will look like. It's going to be Tuesday night, but I still don't think it's going to be very busy.
Yeah, no, we've been right on our prediction about weekday crowds not being very active.
But we also managed to stay out of the casino from
7 to 11.
Yeah, 7 to pretty
7
much.
to midnight, basically.
Yeah.
So, and I think we'll do the same thing tonight. There's no reason to be around, and that's the thing. Everybody, because the Baton Rouge casinos were non-smoking, everybody was wearing a mask.
Right.
Where
it's not true in Lake Charles.
It's not true in Lake Charles because they're drinking and smoking, and so you don't see a lot of mask wearing.
Well, you do, but you see people taking them off.
Yeah. So, oh, and I guess the other thing to mention is Louisiana still has a liquor curfew where they're stopping serving at 11 p.m.
Which for us isn't a big deal, but...
No, but I mean, well, what that does, though, is it thins out the crowd.
It definitely does.
And so, so between 11 and 12, then people are like, okay, I can't get any drinks, well, then I'm just going to go home or I'm going to go somewhere else.
Which means your usual drunk people aren't at the table at 1 or 2.
Yeah, you've got a different kind of crowd. So anyway, but that was kind of good. So that's why we think we might go back out, around midnight maybe and take a look. But to be honest, if we can just get up, at 7 and play at the, the Golden Nugget table,
right.
Have another half hour, 45-minute session, and then play after that at the Shoot to Win table, that'll be good enough.
Yeah, and when we're heading home and we have our next chit chat, I would like to talk about really the differences between the two tables.
Sure. Well, let's get you on it again so you can talk more about it.
Yeah, no, give me a little bit more time on it, but I think we already both have some major differences before them, and there's some pros and cons to both.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see why. I think from now on we're going to play both.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I think you approach each one differently, but I think I like both of them.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, we'll call it here. We're about to turn into the Golden Nugget, and we'll continue this discussion tomorrow when we're on our way back.
Cheers.
All right, adios. All right, and we're back, heading home from our casino trip to Lake Charles in Baton Rouge. So we've already talked about Baton Rouge, not a place for crap shooters, and we're not going back anymore, so scratch that off the list. Then we got back to Lake Charles last night and went straight to LAUBERGE and went in there and could not find a room in the inn. The tables were packed.
But around what time was that when we did that?
We got back around 5:30, right around 5:30. We left 3:30.
That's right. It was around happy hour that we were trying to play again.
Yeah, so it was happy hour. We thought maybe we could get in, but there were 5 people sitting at the table, so there was no room. And then the other 2 craps tables were, they had 3 people at each end, so they were full as well. And then they had people waiting. So then left from LAUBERGE and went back to Golden Nugget. And then Golden Nugget obviously was full too. So parked over there and then changed a little bit, rested from our feet, and then walked back over to LAUBERGE and was able to get on the LAUBERGE table, the Shoot to Win table.
And had a good night too.
Had a really good time. I did well. I got out of my hole and was up, but you did quite well as well.
I did.
And you were shooting well, I think.
I was shooting pretty good. I got into a nice rhythm and had some good rolls, hit some points and made some money. I definitely came...
This had been the first time you'd been back basically to the casino since February of 2020. Yes,
and the night before I didn't roll but a couple of times and had good rolls, and then last night had only rolled a couple of times, and I called it quits because I had good rolls and was up, and just thought that I quit because I started drinking.
Right.
And as a craps player, I don't usually do that, but it's been a while since I've been out in the world, and I figured I would have a couple of drinks. Well, 5 Jamesons later. But I was smart enough that by the time I had my 5th, I was done rolling.
Yeah, you had shut down.
I cashed out. So
you had met your goal.
I had met my goal, and so I was happy. I was in a good place, and so I had a few drinks, and so I started talking to different people. And actually, I was going to the bathroom, walking around a little bit, and ran into one of the managers, and started talking to him a little bit. He's told me that the Shoot to Win was about $500,000. But they are leasing it. But he was saying that it's got to make enough money to validate them to pay for the lease, which obviously makes sense. But at the same time, during these times, I don't know that you can truly gauge what that game is going to pull in for you, because right now you're only running half the seats.
Yeah, you only have 5 seats out of the 10 working.
Right. So, I told him that, for me it was a great machine, because the regular craps table doesn't have the plexiglass in between the seats. And, I told him as a cancer survivor, that, I'm watching what I do. And, he completely understood. And he said, well, then that's perfect for you. And I, told him that, I'm really liking it. So I made a point to, let him know that, there are people that appreciate them bringing it in. And we hope it sticks around. We hope that eventually that it can turn profit for them, so that they can keep it as something we have. I'd rather see them get rid of the bubble craps.
Push the button!
Sure.
Keep the shoot to win. But, he was happy to hear what I had to say, and, it was good to hear that, for the moment they're keeping it, they're hoping that it does well, as we are.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah, so actually we went there, I guess yesterday. Oh, it was yesterday morning that we went there, and they said they were doing a software update, and we were adding the tip button.
Right.
They added a few things, and they've actually made a few changes. So now the table, not only does it have a tip button where you can tip the dealer, but they also changed the time. So it's no longer 20 seconds or 25 seconds in between. On the come out roll, it used to be in between shooters on the come out roll was 25 seconds to make your bet. And then in between rolls, it was 20 seconds. Well, now everything's 15 seconds. They shortened it up. And to be honest, if it makes more sense, because now you're getting more rolls from the machine.
Well, and to be honest with you, they were listening to me, because I said that very same thing when I was rolling, either the first night or
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. I said it's taking too long.
Yeah.
Let's speed this up. I can see having a little bit longer time once the point has been established, because that's when you're putting all your bets out.
Right.
But after that, I can see 15 seconds, because you're not having to replace the place bets every time.
You're either pressing your bet or taking it down.
Right. You're either pressing or taking down, or that's when you have your opportunity to make your field bets or your hard ways or your horn bets or whatever have you. So.
Yeah, I understood why it was a little longer on the come out.
Exactly.
Because then it gives you opportunity to pick proposition bets and the bets in the center, in addition to others. But 15 seconds is fine.
I have 2 thumbs up as far as I'm concerned.
It does go quick though.
Yeah, you got to pay attention.
You got to still pay attention.
But you got to pay attention at a real craps table, because a real craps table can move along fairly quickly if nobody's making any new bets. The dice will go right back out.
So, but anyway, so it does make the game a lot smoother. I will say that it did feel a lot smoother. Things were happening.
Yeah, no, I liked it. They listened to me, which is a smart thing for them to do.
Right. Oh, and I guess the other thing is, each position's numbered, so it goes clockwise around from the boxman, which is the stick person, and so it's position 1 through 10 around the table, and you are able to input your name in that as your position.
Which
before it would only be on your screen. Now it shows up on the table. Right.
And so I put Yo as my name, and so every time you look down in front of me, it just said Yo.
Yeah. So so now if you want to put something funny or put in a name that's kind of cool, everybody else at the table can see it.
Yeah, I was waiting for the stickman to call me Yo, and then have the pit boss go, "Why are you talking to him like that? You should be professional." But it says his name is Yo.
Right.
No, that was cool too. I like that.
Yeah,
and I made a point to actually type in something. I don't know that many other people saw that or did that, but I did.
Well, dude, it's been one day. These are all the changes that happened from that one software update.
Well, I'm kind of slow, but I caught on to it.
Yeah. So, and then another new addition to the software update is when your bet wins, it will ask you if you want to put the win. If you want to press your win on your bet.
But I will say I actually let it do it one time, and it was on a 6 or an 8, and you have your $12 and you won 14. It added the whole thing to it, and it went 26, which isn't really a proper bet. But.
Right. Well, I guess that's the other piece of the puzzle to talk about is you absolutely don't have to proper bet on this table, because it automatically pays you out correctly.
It gives you the change.
It gives you change. Where before you'd only have $1, and sometimes the old days they'd have 50-cent pieces or
absolutely
or
so
other change. But now,
for example, if you have $15 on a 6 and the 6 rolls, 15 would pay. Well, 100,
15 would pay 17.
Right, it pays 17, but it's truly $17.50.
Right.
And so the machine actually pays that out correctly.
It gives you the 50 cents.
Yeah.
And then I started messing around with it, and I put a $12 5, and it paid and I bought it. That's the other thing on the 4 and 10 and the 5 and 9. You've got the option. Well, all the numbers. You've got the option to place it or buy it.
This is a pro tip, people. Listen up. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Explain
So
that.
you've got. We all know where you want to buy the 4 and 10, but then you got to pay the VIG. Well, that's automatically deducted out of your pay, or I don't even know if they take a VIG.
I don't see them even taking the VIG.
So yeah. So now and then the other thing is you used to have your buy bet had a minimum. So you had to do a $20 minimum. You could buy the 4 and 10 for $10. And not pay the dollar for it.
Pay
the dollar, and then it still gives you, it gave me 18 and change. But I went to the 5 and 9, and so we would typically place the 5 and 9. Well, if you put it over on the buy bet on the 5 and 9, it would give you an extra quarter for your $5. So when I was playing a $12 5 and 9, it would pay me $17.40, which is just odd. But then now you don't have to. If you don't want to raise a full unit, you can do partial units,
and it'll pay you. It'll pay you the right ratio.
It'll pay you correctly because it's give you change.
Yeah.
Because you're getting a ticket.
So if you put like $10 on a 6 or 8 at the real table, they give you 11, but here they give you 11.67.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of another difference.
And also just to explain a little bit, on the bottom of the place bets on your numbers, there's a place and there's a buy, and that was what we were talking about.
So you just have to make sure that you put your bet in the buy area on that place number.
And eventually they might start charging the VIG, but currently
no, I don't think they're going to change anything.
I don't think so either, but currently they are not. It could change over time.
That's true. Yep. But anyway, I will say this: if you put a bet on the 5 and a place, and then put a bet on the buy, you'll notice the difference.
Right.
And you don't have a minimum. Well, the minimum is the table minimum, which is a $10 bet.
Right. So why not take advantage and get those extra coins? I mean, it's not costing you anything. It's just a matter of where you're putting your bet.
And the conservative way we play, I didn't want to bump my bet up by $5, so I bet it up by 2.
Right.
And then I still get that.
But on the real craps table, they wouldn't let you do that.
Oh, they'd never let you do that.
Or if they did, they'd pay you the right amount on 10 and then just pay you.
And then a flat bet on the rest.
On the 2, yeah.
And then in which case you weren't getting the true payment.
Correct.
But here, since it's a digital table, you're getting your correct payments for an improper bet. So you don't really have to worry about it. Which means that you can come up with different strategies depending on your bet, on your bankroll and your bet size.
Right.
So, and I guess on that note, something else we learned is if you wanted to do lay bets.
Oh yeah, this is interesting too.
Yeah, so one of my favorite bets, and it's one of my Hail Mary bets out of my football book, is laying all the numbers on the come out. So you're rooting for a 7 on the come out, right? Well, if you lay,
which is everybody else will be happy with that. It's the one time you can play a don't play.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
And if a 7 rolls,
well, you can literally yell for a 7 when it's a come out. Everybody wants a 7 on the come out because everybody wins, unless you're playing a bonus bet. Because then you're going to lose your bonus bet. But there is no bonus bet on this that you'll lose on the 7 come out.
Right.
So I was laying, $30 each bet, which is $180 across. Typically, if you would do that at a table, then they would want your, dollar VIG for each one of those, so it would be an extra $6.
Right. So you're saving that $6.
So you're saving that $6 because you don't have to do it. The other thing is then, that takes a lot of time for the dealer to put that out, where you just do it on your computer screen and it's nice and quick, as long as you do it now within 15 seconds.
And to explain, it does take the dealer a little bit to put all that out, but how frustrating would it become for the dealer if that was then once the first roll goes out, you want to pick up everything and then make additional bets. It can get very tedious for the dealers. So it's one of the plays that we like to do on the shoot to win because you don't have to bother the dealer to do it.
Well, and the other thing is, you kind of felt, well, there was always a minimum too. I mean, you needed to do at least $20. Usually it was a $20 bet on the 4 or lay on the 4 and 10, and then you would do $30 on the 5 and 9.
Right.
For a proper payback.
Yeah,
of
20 is not correct on 5 and 9, right?
So so you had that to deal with. But now with this shoot to win, you can actually. So I was able to go from 30 down to 15 across, and so it would pay out properly on the 15. Well, then.
But then things got really crazy.
Well, so I ran out of time. Is what happened. So I was. I went to $15 to each, laying each number for 15 on the come out, and I ran out of time, and so it let me put $5 on the 10 as a lay bet, and I'm like, wait, what? And it let you do a $5 lay, and
the minimum is a $10
and
table.
It's a $10 table. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And so sure enough, the next time I was playing it, I just did $5 each, so it's $30 that you've got at risk, or excuse me, $30 that you're out there. You're still only $5 at risk because you only can get knocked off one bet at a time. So now you're only losing $5, for a $30 bet. So then I was like, oh, well, if it's a $5 minimum, I wonder if it's, you need a $10 total bet because it's a $10 minimum table, and that's what's happening on the lay. You just need $10 total. So I went down from $5 to $2. And I went to a $2 lay on each. So that's $12 at risk. And it actually won.
And this is something that's really weird because you would almost have to be in Vegas off the strip in some little rundown hotel casino
with $2 minimums.
To find a $2 minimum to be able to make that play, yes.
Yeah, well, and then you're not even getting, then you're getting below $2 on the payback, so you're getting $1 and change, or
you're basically
less.
You're basically getting $1 per coin.
Yeah.
Or per bet, yeah.
Yeah, so you would never get paid properly, but you actually can get paid properly with a $2 lay.
Yeah, that's really
so
weird.
It was wild. And then you could also do a $1 horn bet.
Right.
That was the other thing. You didn't have to do the $4 minimum on a horn bet. You could actually just do $1.
And so on 15 to 1, you're winning 25% of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my $1 paid $4.
Right.
When it hit. And so really, really weird. But hey, that's what's that we figured it out. So that you can do a $10 total bet on the lay side of bet when you're laying bets.
And one of the things I like about being able to do a $1 horn bet would be on a come out roll. You could do a $1 horn bet because one of the things we've always we think if it happens is they hit your horn numbers back to back 2 or 3 on a come out roll. Well, start with $1. If it hits, now you got 4. You could raise, then you can press it. Now you got 5, and if it hits again, now you're actually making some money. Yeah.
No, it's definitely a low bankroll, a low roller kind of play. The low roller now can't. The small bankroll can play don't.
It can really go low. I mean, when you're doing a $1 horn or a $2 lay bet across, that's crazy.
Yeah, in which case, you could lay all the numbers. You could lay 5 of them. That's $10, and that's all that it needs.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even try if you could do a $1 lay.
Well, that'd be 6.
I'll bet
I think
you
it
could.
still needs to equal 10.
Well,
total.
no, but I was going to say if you did 5, I could do 11.
Right.
But anyway, but then you want to talk about really low rolling.
Right. Well, I mean, you could milk a table and just sit there and get drunk all night.
Well, now that's the other thing we talked about a little bit. A lot of guys at the table weren't betting on other people; they were only betting on themselves. So they were just sitting in the chair for
Yeah.
So at this table, which is the same way at bubble craps,
Push the button!
Yes.
you can just sit in the chair, and the waitress comes by and has no idea if you're playing or not playing, and then you
Right.
can get drinks.
Right.
Which I guess is the same thing at a slot machine.
Sure.
Or video poker. You got money in the machine, but you're not playing unless somebody comes by.
But it's kind of, if you're waiting to get a seat, it just kind of is frustrating to watch somebody who's only playing. With 5 players, they're only playing every 5th hand.
Yeah.
You know.
So anyways, we figured a lot of those kind of things out. There's there's different ways to play, different strategies you can apply to that shoot to win table. So that was last night, and so you were chatty Cathy last night after your 5th Jameson.
Yeah, I have I started
you haven't
talking.
been out either.
Yeah, and I started talking to people, which is totally not me because I don't like people at all. But
and it's COVID.
And it is COVID, which is
well. So here's another PSA of why why bars and things really shouldn't be open right now is because once you start drinking, you didn't have your mask on all the time, and you started talking to other people, and then you started talking to people who didn't have their masks on.
Yeah.
And so therefore you were kind of hanging out.
And just to let everybody know, I'm pretty careful. So this is why bars are having troubles.
You loosened up a little too much, in my opinion. Of hey, I haven't been out of the house at all, but I've had 5 Jamesons, and I'm just going to talk to everybody.
And I did.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully everything's fine, but be careful out there when you're drinking. You do lose your inhibitions and start forgetting what the rules are.
It's when we want to start talking to people, and that's why we go to bars and don't drink just at home.
Right. You want to interact.
And I actually met a couple of really nice guys. It wasn't like I was talking to guys who were jerks, and I actually met a couple. Actually, the 2 guys were both from Houston. One was in past Pearland, and I didn't ask specifically where the rich guy was from, but I'm assuming
in the vicinity,
River Oaks or something. But anyway, I met a couple of nice guys and chatted with them a little bit, and
it was good to get out, good to meet some good people.
And yes, I was excited because I was a winner. And
that's the other thing.
That was why I was,
if you would have lost, you wouldn't have talked to anybody.
And that was why people those guys wanted to talk to me, because I'd had a couple good rolls.
Yeah.
And so, they, if I had terrible rolls, they probably wouldn't have wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
And, but no, it was fun to get out and fun to talk to people, and it's always fun to win money. And, I kept this, we talked about having a disciplined approach, and we talked about
having our goals and having our
goals
limits.
And when you were up, and 150 was much more than 20 or 30% of my bankroll. It was 100% of the bankroll of my buy-in. Excuse me. And once I reached that after my roll, I cashed out. And you were still on, and that's why I had time to talk. But
I was still playing because I still was trying to figure out what dice set to use and what shooting position. Because I think actually the same thing happened today, but I went over to your spot and sat in your spot, right?
Yeah.
So to see if I could get some decent rolls.
But I was much more successful out of my spot.
I was not a shooter this trip at all.
And I've had trips like that too.
Yeah, no, I only had 2 rolls that were like over 15, and then everything else I was like, shoot, 5 and under.
Yeah, that was the hard part. Was if you could have hit 8 or 10 rolls, we could have probably at least broke even.
I had more PSOs that I'd had in a long time.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to, reduce my bets, be conservative, and then bet on other people. But everybody else seemed to be warm. It was a good. We had a fun table. We did, and then after last night's good feelings that I had this morning when we came back to LAUBERGE and got back on the shoot to win table, because we did check. So hold on, yeah. So when we got it. So what we did last night was we had one session, then we had dinner, and then by after dinner I was kind of tired. It was 11 o'clock.
I was 11:30 by then.
Yeah, because we played from like 7 to 9.
Which we said we really weren't going to do, but they weren't busy.
No, and it took a while. Everybody was shooting, so it took a while for the dice to go around, which is fine. because that means you're on, they're winning and they're on numbers and they're hitting points. But yeah, so we played for 2 hours and then had dinner. Had dinner from our room. One of our cool things that we like to do is do Buffalo Wild Wings on Tuesdays for buy one get one. And so we had dinner for under $25 for the both of us, and actually had plenty left over.
Because there literally is a
Buffalo. There's a Buffalo Wild Wings right basically outside the parking lot of LAUBERGE.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had buffaloes last night, which was great. Back in the room, and then by the time I was done with dinner, I'm like, okay, it's 11:30. Do we go back out and see what's up, or do we just go ahead and call it early and get up early? And so that's what we did. Was we decided to call an early night so we could get up early in the morning. And
which we were able to do, actually.
Yeah, so we were out of our room before 8 this morning, but when we went to the Golden Nugget tables, the real tables, they already had people at it.
Whereas the morning before, when we went down, the table was empty.
They were empty, yeah. So we were hoping if we got there before 8, the tables would be empty, but they actually had people at it. And
I had actually had a couple really good rolls. Well, I hit half the ATS and had some good rolls there.
So we were hoping to repeat, but couldn't do it because there were too many people. So then went from Golden Nugget back over to LAUBERGE this morning, and there was only one person at the shoot to win table when we got there this morning. So then we just sat down and started our grind.
And my first 2 or 3 rolls were not good. Well, I think one was like 8 or 9, but the other 2 were like 2 or 3 and out. Yeah. So those weren't good. Well, I was out of position for my first 2 rolls.
Right.
I was basically in stick right one, and the way you lean over, I just couldn't get my arm straight to make it.
Yeah. Remember that the video, the monitor is there, and it pushes you out from the rail.
Well, you're basically putting your junk on the monitor.
If you're that tall.
Well, sometimes
you must be tall.
Or you're that short and that long. I don't know. But you're leaning up against the monitor, and well, anyway, from stick right, I just couldn't get straight. And I mean, they were going crooked, and I mean, that's why my first 2 rolls were terrible. Yeah. Then I switched finally.
Yeah, the guy left.
And so then I basically went
back to stick left, right, or 1.
Basically, that was stick left 2.
It's fair.
And I rolled from there and PSO'd in my second roll. I mean, so that was terrible. And then when it came back around, from the right spot 2 was where I was playing, but the number 1 position was
stick left 1.
Stick left 1 was
one of the monitors that wasn't working. It was one of the spaces.
Correct. So nobody was playing there.
But they let you shoot out of it.
So I was making my bets at basically the second position and then sliding over to the
first position.
The first position, and I was rolling, and I went on a tear. I went.
How many points?
5 or 6, but I think we wrote down 5 because I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
but it was 38 total rolls, and I did not hit a 2, I did not hit a 12, and I think I only hit 11 and 3 once, and everything else, and I only hit 4 and 10 a few times, but everything else, I would say 30 of them were inside numbers, 5, 6, 8, and 9, and at the time, I actually was half of a bankroll down.
Yeah, no, I was down to 50% as well. And was able to basically come back on top for an extra 200.
And I was really upset because my bankroll was half. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to be very conservative, and so I didn't play the bonus bet this time. And 38 times would have actually paid.
The 32 is the number, and it would have paid seven
times. And I was putting $8 or $10 on it, so that would have paid decent, but. When you roll 38 times and you're
already making
you're already making money. So I wasn't overly upset. In hindsight, yes, I would have loved to have
an extra $70.
Yeah, but I went from half a bankroll to doubling my starting. Excuse me, not my bankroll, my buy-in to doubling my buy-in when I was done. So and then I didn't gamble after that.
Yeah, then you shut down the whole thing because
I'm not going to have another 38 roll.
You're up 60% from your buy-in, from your bankroll.
From my bankroll, and I'm not going to have another 38 roll.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, how many 38 rolls are you going to have in one day?
Yeah. And so I was happy
going to be your best, and shut it down.
I was happy to cash out, and actually you cashed out with me because you were up too.
Yeah.
And so we
then we went back to the Golden Nugget to check out of the hotel.
Yes. And you got to take a cold shower.
And I got to. hot water. What happened to the hot water at the Golden Nugget?
The night before when I took my shower, I got hot water.
Yeah. Wednesday morning, apparently they had no hot water. And so that made it a very nice, brisk, quick morning shower. So, but packed up and then basically went back to, checked out the tables at the Golden Nugget. They still had people. Actually, they started doing at least 3 people aside, and then sometimes we saw 4 people aside.
Yeah, well, that was when we came back after, which I definitely would have, if I had been playing at the table, I would have picked up my chips and left, because apparently, if the loophole here is if you have a doctor's notice, you can get out from wearing your mask and you get some kind of wristband. And so this first guy walks up and he's got the wristband and he buys his chips and he's playing. And then his little buddy walks up with a vape pen in his mouth and a wristband, and he's just vaping on everybody and exhaling
on
over the table.
And everybody was around him.
And he ends up getting chips, and so now there's 4 people on that end, and we're just bystanders. We were just observing.
We're just watching,
We were just observing anyway, because we weren't. But if I had been on the table, I would have said something to the dealers, and I would have cashed out.
Yeah. Well, then the problem is it takes time to cash out at a real table.
Right. Exactly.
Versus hitting the cash out button and getting your ticket and go.
Yeah. Which is another big.
So yeah, we're still at that. It's less than 5% of the customers at the casino are not wearing masks, but still, it's one too many.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. So you did well today, and then I kept trying to get out of my funk. Kept thinking that I could roll, and I just couldn't. I did 3 rolls and out, 2 rolls and out,
and if I can
5 rolls and out.
If I can call you out,
yep.
you did not stick to your plan, because yesterday and the day before you stuck to your cards.
I was so good. But the only safe thing, and the reason I was betting crazy was because I only bought in for 300 as opposed to anything more.
Right.
I had a smaller buy-in, so I was being careless with the smaller buy-in. The smaller buy-in was also my winnings.
Right.
So I was playing with my winnings. I wasn't playing with my bankroll. So, that's how I rationalize playing bad, which gets me in trouble. And so sure enough.
Well, he can rationalize anything. Yeah.
Sure enough, I lost. I lost two-thirds of my buy-in, and that's that. Though, although I did have free play. And
you did actually.
And my free play wasn't able to work on the craps table, so I had to play video poker. And so played video poker and was able to actually
turn
25 into 55.
Yeah.
And then I had another $15 credit, and I turned that into 27, I think.
Yeah, 26, 27.
So I was able to make $75 back about, and was able to then I'm only down
100,
1/3 of my buy-in. So, and then then that was it. We called it for craps, no more craps, and then was walking around and was like, okay, well, we didn't play hardly any at Golden Nugget.
We literally only played
played that 20 minutes,
30 minutes.
In which case we took their money and ran.
Right.
But then
I don't think Tillman.
So I felt a little bit guilty.
I felt guilty, not 1 ounce.
That we they were able to give us a couple nights for free, but didn't play. So I played a little pie gow towards the end, and played for about. So the pie gow was $15 minimum, so that was comfortable. But man, couldn't push at all.
Yeah, didn't get pushes.
For pie gow, where you get mostly pushes, it took 13 hands for me to get my first push.
Well, in our mind, and I think statistically we're close to correct, it's 1/3 win, 1/3 lose, and 1/3 push.
Sure.
Is kind of how it breaks down. And I don't think you got your first push until like 13 hands in.
Actually, I want to say, let me get it better. I think it's a 40% push, and then out of the 60 left, it's 50-50.
So 30-30.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little bit higher on the push.
30-40-30, where you get 40% push.
Got it.
So, but yeah, we didn't push until 13. I didn't push until 13 hands in, which was odd, and even the dealer
Yeah,
who was really, really nice.
When he was only back for, he said his second or third day, because he said when COVID hit back, he ended up, he didn't give reasons why, but he said he hadn't worked since then.
Yeah, he hadn't been back since COVID started.
Yeah. And this was like his third day, so that was kind of cool. Oh, and I actually had a pretty good conversation, and I was not drunk for this one, with the dealers at the Golden Nugget that morning that we were able to roll on the table by ourselves. When we were cashing out,
tips.
It was still just us, and so, I asked him. I said,
and we were tipping.
Yeah, and I on a real table, I like, when I have my pass line, I like to put $1 next to it for the dealers, and then when I put my odds down, I like to put $1, $2, or $3, depending on what the number is for them. And it's not much, but if I win, then they're getting $10 or so, and it keeps them in the game. It keeps them engaged. It makes them happy. It lets them see that we're giving, trying to tip them.
Yeah.
And so I tip when I cash out. I usually tip, not
the change is left over,
a whole bunch, but $5, $6, $7, $8, whatever the odd number is out. I like green chip, but anyway, black and green, let me say. And so while we were doing that, they were counting up. They gave us our money, and it was the dealers and the box man and just us still. And so I had asked him. I said, do y'all like tips directly to the can, or do you like to be on the board and play with us? And they said they like to play. If somebody's rolling, they want to be on, and they like it when the lady said she likes it when the customer controls it, so that it can get pressed, or
sure, it stays out there.
Right, if it So
what you got out of it though was they prefer their tips to be played on the table,
because then they have a chance of winning more. And honestly, if you're throwing them a nickel or a couple of dollars, they're pulling all their tips, so it's not making that much of an addition.
It adds up, but not that much.
Yeah, but if you put 5 on, piggybacking one of your bets, and they get,
well, or even doing dollar ATS bets for them.
Right, they like that.
They'd prefer to be on the action.
Yeah, they like that one, because that one actually pays pretty good for just $1. Yeah, no, they definitely, that was the overall feeling I got from them was, we like to be in on the action, makes them more, and we think it just helps with karma.
Oh, it's karma, but the other thing is they pay attention. Now they're paying attention to those bonus bets. Now they're making sure that the numbers get marked when they're going to win some money.
And this doesn't always happen, but there was one box lady who, her name was, and she, we were betting and tipping or letting putting tips up while we were playing for the box or for the dealers, and she took us to green chip level that whole time that we were doing that for comps.
Yeah.
And that was nice of her, but we were also making sure everybody was making a little money, and we were doing pretty well that day. That was a while back, but I remember we were doing pretty well.
We've talked about that before, and that's the problem with the shoot to win table. The shoot to win table is not going to give you comps. It took us forever to earn points because we were turning things on and off. When you're off on your bets, you're not earning any comps.
Right.
So the computer's not going to give you credit for being at the table, where if you're at a real table, you're getting credit just for being there.
Right, because they're not turning it on. Right.
Yeah, so you're earning comps just by playing there, and you don't have to bet on everybody. But when you're not betting on everybody at the computer, then it knows. So that's the thing. And so that's another reason why we decided to play PyGao, was we wanted to at least earn a little bit of comp, so that we can, say we were there and we actually gave the casino a little bit of support for the 2 nights that they gave us for free.
Well, we do like PyGao. That is a fun game.
It was fun and slow, except for I needed more pushes.
Yeah. And wins.
Well, and wins,
but
yeah. Well, it was funny. I was trying to, do the whole regression betting, John Patrick style, and every time I would bump up my bet, I'd lose.
Yeah.
I lost the big bets and would win the small bets, and that's not the right regression.
Right, that's the opposite of regression. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's oppression.
Yeah. So, but overall,
great trip.
You're back.
My first trip in over a year, or maybe around a year. And I tell you, it's like I was telling you yesterday. I was feeling comfortable, other than having 5 Jamesons.
Well, COVID.
COVID-wise, I was feeling comfortable. I stepped out of my shoes a little bit, but I think I'll be okay. But you know, winning is a cure for all. It's so much more fun. And I want to say my last trip
was probably not
as profitable.
Well, I know it wasn't because this is one of your big wins.
Yeah.
That I can remember. I mean, if anything, you might have been winning 100 or 2, but you know.
Yeah.
60% of your buy-in, boom, of your bankroll.
Yeah. So now I'll have some more money to take.
Yeah. So now for the next trip, which we already booked, we booked our one leg, so we are definitely staying at Harrah's in New Orleans. The week of Mardi Gras. How about that? They're not booked for Mardi Gras. That like is unheard of. To get a hotel room 2 weeks before Mardi Gras.
Right.
So we're real excited.
Honestly, I want to say a good number of years ago, I remember calling 3 months ahead.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get a hotel and I could not.
Well, they canceled all the parades, so they're not doing anything. So there is no Mardi Gras. But you know, the locals will be local. You know, so I think and then it'll be decorated. Everybody decorates still. So we're excited that we got that started. So we've got that locked in, and then we've got our restaurant reservations locked in, and so now we're just going to put the Biloxi piece together and then bookend it with our Lake Charles on the way out there and on the way back. And we've got trip number 2 for 2021 coming in 2 weeks.
Which means we'll have more podcasts for you.
We'll have a lot more podcasts now. Now we'll be on the road. It'll be 8 hours on the way and 8 hours on the way back. So we'll have a ton of time. So we'll be able to probably break up our Biloxi trip into 3 portions. Have our Biloxi, our Lake Charles, New Orleans, Biloxi trip. In which case we're going to play on the shoot to win tables so there's a shoot to win table at New Orleans, and then there's, I think, 3 or 4 shoot to win tables in Biloxi. And so obviously those are the ones we want to play at, and so we'll go scout those out and find out what to do. But you know, weekday mornings, I think if you wanted to play by yourself, that's not a bad COVID way to play either.
Did you want to mention Isle Capri at all?
Oh yeah, we can do that. So we just left Gold Nugget, and then on our way out, we you know, the website and everything, you know, Isle Capri closed. So we wanted to drive by and see what's going on over there. The entire property is fenced off. They've got bulldozers and everything. They're under some major renovation, and they do not look like they're going to be open probably at least for another 12 months, at least.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the Isle Capri was a part of that El Dorado and Caesars merger.
Correct.
And so we were all excited that we were going to be able to earn Caesars comps in Lake Charles, but now that's not going to be a deal. And so I'm hoping that they hold on to the property and not sell the property, which always could be an issue that they, you know, it's just one property they don't want to hold on to. But yeah, they've got, they were already the stepchild of the Lake Charles casinos anyway, so they need a major upgrade to compete. So hopefully that's happening. Hopefully they'll upgrade it big time, but we couldn't even get onto the property to see if the boat is there, you know, or what they're doing to the boat. But I could tell they were renovating all of the hotel. If you know anything about construction and trash chutes, they had those, you know, those yellow, or the kind of the trash chutes.
Tube-like, yeah.
From every floor of the casino, they had a tube where you could throw trash. So it looked like they were, you know, ripping out the carpet, the drywall, all that kind of stuff. In which case, that was an old hotel, and it smelled anyway.
Yeah,
it smelled like an old hotel. So
it did.
I'm glad they're renovating it, but it does not look they're going to be open anytime soon. There's no way they'll be open for summer.
I mean, I think unless they started doing 24-hour cruise, but I mean, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, the other thing is, you know,
why rush it? To be honest with you,
say, why? Yeah, why rush it?
Wait, have it planned to where this ends.
Well, and then also remember where you're at. Lake Charles got hit by multiple hurricanes. I mean, we drove around, man, and they are still hurting bad. They're hurting bad. I mean, all the there's still a ton of roofs with blue tarps over the roofs, you know, so it's going to take them a long time still to recover. So we wish them the best and hope they can everybody can do better in Lake Charles, but they're still hurting.
On a happy note, we saw our bunnies.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to Aaron from, what's his podcast called? Oh, Aaron, I'm sorry. Craps something. Oh, man.
Welcome, everybody, to the Craps Journey podcast.
Aaron, thanks for sending the email to us, wishing Shotgun well on his cancer recovery. And then he mentioned that rabbits were illegal in Australia.
And see, this is one of the negatives of being in the car doing this, is we can't just stop and look up.
Right. Look up.
Yeah.
Aaron, thanks so much for reaching out to us. And after the hurricane, we didn't think the bunnies made it, and we were actually able to see a couple of bunnies.
And they might not be the same bunnies.
Well, most likely they're not the same bunnies, but thank God they multiply like
we feel like it's
like
always.
they should.
We always feel like it's good luck when we're walking between Golden Nugget and LAUBERGE when we see the bunnies.
Oh yeah, because they're definitely lucky rabbits.
Absolutely.
Because they have both feet.
And Elmer's never gotten them.
There you go. So it was a good sign that we did see the lucky rabbits. Well, hell, that's why you had a lucky weather.
I did. And then like one of my favorite all-time songs was playing on the boardwalk while we were walking too.
Yeah,
which
you and your shot
it was just meant to be.
So did you like what? So this was your first trip back. You finally played on the table. You played the shoot to win table from a couple of different positions. You know, what did you think?
Well, I mean, obviously with a 38 roller, I'm going to say I love the shoot to win.
That doesn't hurt.
It's been a while since I've had a 30 plus roll in a casino.
It's been a while since you've been in a casino.
Well, that too, but there's pros and cons. I love both tables. I still want to play at a regular table with dealers, with chips, but at this moment, we have to. I'm going to be super safe and only.
All we got to do, to be honest, is make it to fall, and most likely,
right?
50% should have a vaccine by then.
I should be getting my vaccine.
You should hopefully within the next 3 months. I'm hoping.
I liked the shoot to win table. I liked it a lot. It definitely bounces different when you shoot on it, and I think those guys that I befriended last night, and some of the people you've talked to have all said that they think that rolls go on a little bit longer on this table.
Yeah, we
have no statistical data to back this up at all.
It seems like it. It comes in bunches. Where you'll have, 4 people
have 5 or 6
with short rolls.
Right.
But then, then all of a sudden, it'll pop open, and then, somebody will go on for 20. Somebody will go on for 15 or more, so it happens that it seems like, there's the opportunity for longer rolls on the shoot to win table than regular table,
which could or could not be true, but definitely the dice hit the table differently for sure.
Well, and again, I think it's without the cushion, without the felt, there's less of a bounce.
Yeah.
There's a bounce still, but it's not the same bounce, and so therefore the dice act differently.
Because with the felt, it seems it's more like almost like a trampoline.
Well, I think there's a little bit of absorption of it, but then there's also that trampoline push.
Yeah.
So
no, I think there's certain plays that I'll play on each table, but won't play on the other table. The football playbook will kind of have a new chapter where
what table are you playing on?
Exactly.
Well, we talked about that. It's the same thing when you're in Vegas. Are you playing on microfiber or are you playing on felt?
Because we've never had a huge success on microfiber.
Well, and then the different lengths of tables. If you're playing on a 16-footer versus a 12-footer. I mean, these are all things you need to pay attention to. And then minimums. I'd prefer to play on a $10 minimum table versus a $15 minimum table.
Right. Well, because we know how to press, and we'd rather have initially less money out of our own money out there.
It's easier to play regression when you have a lower limit table.
Correct.
For our bankroll, at least.
Right. But no, I mean, I like both tables, and I think I don't see why people can't play on both.
Well, and that's the thing. Hopefully, everybody can live together, right? Hopefully, you can have bubble craps and shoot to win and, tables.
Yeah, no, I mean, now that shoot to win is around, I mean, we're totally off bubble craps.
Oh, yeah, we're never...
We haven't played bubble craps in a long time anyway, but we feel like that one gets a little manipulated. Like, we're not sure that the...
Well, anytime the computer's in charge...
Right.
I don't trust the computer.
Right.
I mean, that's that. I mean, they could tell me everything they want to tell me, but I still don't trust them.
But no, I enjoyed both tables. I actually would have liked to have been able to play on a regular table one more time.
Yeah.
But
since we hit half the ATS, that's why I want to play on a real table, so I could play on the bonus.
Right.
I really miss playing that bonus because we did hit it, fairly regularly. Especially if we're by ourselves.
Let's just say it's a possibility every time we pick up the dice.
Well, I'll do that. Yeah. Well, I'd put it at a coin flip.
Yeah, you're being generous, I think. Maybe for you, but not for me. But
and right now I shoot better at a real table than the shoot to win right now. So I got to fix that. So that's the other thing. We're gonna do some practice.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
Hit up Bone Tracker. If for those of you out there, dice people, if you don't know about Bone Tracker, go over to Heavy's Axis Power Craps site and download it over there. If you don't know about Heavy's Axis Power Craps, you should. We need to be doing. I think that we'll do that for our. Since we'll be in the car for so long, we'll bring up we keep talking about all the books, and all the websites and podcasts and all that. Maybe we'll just empty that out because we'll have so much time.
Well, and the one thing that I kind of noticed was, I think we saw people who thought they were dice controllers.
Oh yeah.
More at the shoot to win, at the shoot to win than at a regular table over the last couple of days. I can think of 3 or 4 guys.
Well, I mean, we met people that had practice tables.
Well, that one guy, but I mean, there were a few other guys that I saw. The Asian kid, I mean, he wasn't any good.
Well, just because you set the dice doesn't mean you know how to throw it.
Well, but he took the same backswing and he did the same, no, he wasn't any good.
No. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah. Well,
but again,
that's what I'm saying.
I think what it is everybody is now looks like they set the dice, but not everybody practices.
Well, and I think, exactly, and I think that's a pandemic
it gives
reaction.
us cover. It gives us cover.
I think people have too much time on their hands and they're Googling all the how to set the dice and how to.
Well, there's a ton of YouTubes. So there's all that out there. So if you want to go look for it, they'll look for it. But more than half of that shit is shit.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I think I'll start putting notes together and some outline topics, so we got things to talk about on our trip. But we'll start spreading the news and the education, all the research and places to go to find more information.
Well, maybe we can even get you to do another little history segment.
Well, what I want to do is I do want to talk about New Orleans. We've never talked about New Orleans. Since we're not going to be on our way to New Orleans, I think I can probably do that. So I'll have a little history lesson for New Orleans and the Gulf Coast for that matter. And then maybe also a little bit of Mardi Gras. We'll have a little bit of Mardi Gras in there.
There you go. I'll bring the beads.
Yes. So all right. Well, I think that's quite the trip back, sir.
Yeah.
Welcome back. To you and all our listeners out there too. Thanks so much. I will say we are doing better at posting things on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you're not there, look for us there. And everything will be in our show notes. Hope everybody's doing well and being safe.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, take care out there.
Cheers.
Adios. Red Eye Gamblers, thank you for your time, and hope you got a little something out of this week's podcast.
Here's to rolling 7s on the come out, and may your 6s and 8s always be hard. Cheers.